Hello, everybody. Are we all here? Is the thing working? I think it is. Hello, everybody. Yes, it is. So I always start my streams off real quick and check my audio levels. How are we all doing this evening? Welcome to Joe's Computer Museum, and tonight's live stream is going to be Apple II to BBS with a 300 baud modem, or the video that didn't want to be made. So my patrons and stuff, people who follow me a little more closely, know about this video and that I've been working on it for a month or more, and it just did not want to happen. So I figure that let's just hang out tonight and I'll show you the progress that I made with it, and we'll call the project closed, because I have a lot of other projects on the bench and a lot of other, how can I put it, things that people want me to get done for them that need to get done. So I need to move on. So I was cleaning up my shop, and I found in the museum here this thing right here. And this is an Apple Modem 300. I got this Apple Modem 300 with my original Apple IIs that I got in 1994. And the silly thing never actually worked right. I was never able to get the modem to function correctly. I had all the cables, I had everything to work, but I could never communicate with the modem. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I just chucked it to the side. 14-year-old me, a little bit later, got really curious as to what this modem could do or what was wrong with it or anything, so I took it apart. Hence, it just being this bare modem here. And I never really put it back together. And then I ended up losing the power adapter and the screws and the case. And then eventually, this is an early model. The heat sinks for the voltage regulators are not strapped down like they are in later models. So these just kind of flap around in the breeze, and they ended up snapping off, and the power switch got screwed up and all this other stuff. But for whatever reason, out of nostalgia, I kept the thing. I just held on to it. And so fast forward, years later, I'm cleaning up the shop. I find it. I'm like, this is a perfect video. I love soldering, electronics, fixing things. I've done a lot of that repair. Let's do a video. Let's repair this modem. But just repairing the modem would be like a 5-minute video, because there's not much wrong with it, really. So I decided I'm going to go whole ham. I'm going to repair this modem. I'm going to 3D print a replacement case for it, put it in the replacement case, connect it to an Apple II, and through weird chicanery, get it to actually connect to a BBS like it did back in the 80s. I wanted to, with my original hardware, with my original computers, relive that BBS thing. Primary reason, in addition, is because I never had the opportunity to use BBSs. I got my first Apple II in 1994, as I said, or it's really my first real computer at that point. But even then, by 94, a lot of the BBSs started to disappear, the internet came around, and I never did that. So I was like, let's at least once do the thing, right? So that's where all the problems started. So I got into repairing this silly thing, and the power regulators snapped off, so I had to replace those. And then the capacitors, as we all know, we got capacitor leak. That happens all the time, so I replaced the capacitors. I'm like, okay, fine. So then I go to connect the modem to my Apple II. I figured, okay, so we've got the modem fixed. I have a power adapter thanks to Stavros Karatsaridis, one of my patrons. He loaned me a modem for copying the case for, and also power adapter and all that, so I could at least test this. So thanks to him very much. So I power it up, I plug it in my Apple II, I can't communicate with it. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. I can't comm with it. I can't comm with it. It won't respond. And so then I do some research, and I'm thinking, what is this? And I find out that, and here's where the failures begin. First off, if you don't know, these Apple modems, they were manufactured by US Robotics for Apple. But this port right here, this 9-pin port, is not a standard RS-232 pinout. It's some random crap Of course, it's some random pinout that Apple decided to tell US Robotics to make. I don't know why. So you had to use a special cable, which Stavros let me borrow as well. Now, of course, I had forgotten he let me borrow this because I have a pile of stuff back here to work on for him, and it got lost under the pile. So I didn't know I actually had this cable. So instead, I went and made my own cable and spent, gosh, 2 days figuring out the pinouts and doing all this and testing it with null modem adapters and all this other stuff. So that ate up a whole bunch of time. Finally got the cable to work, and that was good. Then I started having problems with ProTerm for reasons I don't know. I'm not sure why, but I wanted to use ProTerm because that was the terminal software everybody used back in the day. Yeah, Steve is saying, oh, Apple and your random proprietary cables and ports. Yeah, all of them forever. But so I wanted to try to use ProTerm to connect to this. I couldn't get ProTerm to communicate with the modem with this modem cable, the new modem cable. It still wouldn't com. I'm like, I know the cable is right. I toned it out. I checked every wire. It still would not work. Poopy. So then I'm thinking, well, maybe the modem itself is just bad. Maybe there's just something wrong with it. So I hook up Stavros's modem with that new cable I used, and it worked just fine. So that means that despite all the repairs I did, replacing capacitors and resoldering all these things, this modem is just bad. Now, I took out all of the socketed chips and put them in Stavros's modem just to make sure that, because these are the brain boxes, this is what, you know, all the actual intelligence. Checked all those, and all of my chips work in his modem. So then this modem has basically these two chips right here. These are the RS-232 level changers. They change it from like 5 volts up to the 9 to 25 volts at RS-232. I'm pretty sure that these two little transceivers are bad. At that point, I'm like, screw it. I don't need that to make this video. I just need a modem 300, and with Movie Magic, I can just tell you it's my modem. I wasn't going to do that. I was going to say it was Stavros' modem, but fine, whatever, move on, done. So I get through the process, and I connect the modem up, and I get Stavros' modem working, and that's great. And then I start working on the PC side. Now, let me step back and where are we? So yeah, so I had to get the modem working first. So we got the modem working. Now that the modem is working, I have to get the modem connected to a dial tone, right? We need to be able to get it to dial something. So I don't have a phone line, and there aren't many BBSs that still exist in the world that actually run on phone lines anymore. So I knew I was going to have to do some sort of weird, and this is the term I use, chicanery, shenanigans, magic, charlatanism, whatever it was, prestidigitation, to get the modem to connect to another modem. And I found some ways to do that without having to have an actual phone line. And I'll show you one of those. That's this little thing right here. What this is, it's just a little modem box, if I can get it apart. Not a modem box, it's a phone line box. It's just one of these little things right here, and it's got a 9-volt battery connected and like a 470K resistor, something like that. And you just plug the battery into that and get this plugged into your lines between your modems, and that will simulate enough line voltage that it'll have a signal that it can modulate noise on. And I tested that out, and it seemed to work, and that's great. I'm like, that's awesome, but that's not good enough for me. Because no, I'm a friggin' perfectionist. So I had to create a way to actually generate dial tone. And in doing the research for that, there are these like central office emulators you can use for diagnostic purposes, but they were like $100 to $200. And I'm like, I'm not buying one of those silly things just for this little video. So what I found was a Cisco ATA. It's an SPA122. It's an analog telephone adapter. It's designed to connect your old school telephones to a VoIP phone provider like Vonage or Google Voice or something like that. But it has this really cool trick where you can program it to dial between the two modems, or between the two modem ports, which is super awesome. So I set that up and programmed that to work, and it seemed to function. So then I stepped forward to the next step. Now that I've got a way to emulate dial tone so I can actually hear modem barf. You know, I wanted to hear beep and all that stuff. So I did that. And now I have to get a modem that connects to the real world. So I happen to have a US Robotics Courier V Everything 56K modem connected with a serial line to my PC here. And using the real-term application and setting a dip switch on the modem to auto answer, I can dial from the 300 baud modem into the 56K modem just with some simple commands, and it seems to work. And that is super awesome. I can do that. So now I have all of that. That entire process took like weeks to get done because every step of the way there was a glitch. A baud rate wasn't right. The cable issue I told you about. The Cisco ATA that I bought is faulty. And as I was talking just now, I happened to look over. You may have seen me looking off to this one direction because it's right over here. It randomly reboots itself. So sometimes it'll just stop working. And sometimes when it reboots itself, it clears the entire configuration. So I have to manually reprogram it. So hopefully you don't have to sit here and watch me manually reprogram it tonight just to do this demonstration. Just layers and layers and layers of problems. Eventually I got all those issues worked out. I'm like, finally, I have processes written, I had my script written, everything was set up, and then I go to start recording the bits and pieces for this video, and Stavros's modem started failing. Now Stavros's 300 modem has issues with communication and sending garbage over the line. So I can get it connected, but I can't fully demonstrate it because the screen will fill with junk. Sigh. So, 4 weeks of working on this, and we get to this point. Hey, look, that box just rebooted again. That ATA just rebooted again. Anyway, 4 weeks of doing this, and it's like, fine, we're just going to hang out, and hopefully I'm going to be able to demonstrate this for you. So I'm going to switch over to the side cam here, and I'll show you the setup and walk you through all the bits and pieces, and if we're lucky, this silly Cisco ATA will work, and I'll actually be able to dial through. So let me see if I can change screens here. Can I go to that screen? There we are. It should be on my side screen. Hello. And just making sure you can all still hear me. So here's the setup here. What we've got is we've got the Apple IIc Plus, which I'm using because it's convenient and I like it. We've got the Apple Modem 300, which is connected with my custom cable here that I made, right? We've got the 56K modem is underneath it, which is then connected via that cable back there to my PC, using a piece of software called RealTerm to do all of the connect it to the internet magic. And then there's the ATA. And you might be able to see it, but that light right there is blinking. Can you see that light blinking? Maybe. It's just randomly rebooting itself. So the process here that I am using is basically I can just I can dial from the Apple II the phone number 333, and the Cisco here will connect the two ports together effectively. It'll dial from one port to the other port, which then dials to this modem. This modem then connected over here to my terminal software. We'll see if I can show you real quick. Let's scoot that over. There you go. I got terminal software going on over here. It connects to this, which then connects it to the PC. After that, I can go to, in RealTerm, it has this echo port function, which allows you to connect the serial port to an external text connection of some type. So you can't really see what I'm pointing at, but right here in this field, I can put in the BBS server or the BBS address of the server I want to get to. And with all of that, when I'm done, what happens is the BBS actually shows up over here, and it's about as close to an emulated dial-up situation as you can get. So, without further ado, I'm going to try this live, and if we're lucky, if this stupid thing is working correctly, I'll be able to dial through and at least kind of sort of do the thing. So let's go ahead and show that off here real quick. Hey, Bruce, how you doing? Yeah, we have the same lab supply. Yeah. And cheap. Yeah, my bench power supply is kind of awesome. So let's go ahead and I'm going to tilt the screen over here just a little bitty bit, just to make it a little easier to see what I'm doing on the screen. And then I'm going to go, so first off, what we need to do is we need to connect to the super serial card that's in this. So we do IN number 2. It connects me to the super serial card, and then I Control A. Oops, Control A. Oops, it didn't do it. Let's try it again. IN number 2, Control A, T. That puts it in terminal mode. Now I can talk to the modem over here. So if we do AT, I should get a response. Okay, it is talking to it now. Great. Now we'll do AT-DT 333. Hopefully this will be able to dial this modem if this stupid ATA over here is working correctly. Nope. This thing decided it wanted to do the thing where it died. So, yeah, great. So, I can't even flip and demo it. So now you know the problems that I went through to doing this. Every time I went to try to dial into it, this thing would break or just whatever. So, no. And Tony Toon 33 or 333. I did type 333, and you heard it pick up and go and make the noise. What's happening is because the 300 modem started having issues where it's dropping characters. Not all the characters get echoed back to the screen for some dumb reason, and you also see that too when you try to log into the BBS. Characters will just get randomly changed to other stuff. Joe Williams is asking about the 333. Yes, I'll go into a little bit more detail. So the Cisco ATA, what's the guy's name? Stand by. I know. Yes, Cathode Ray Dude is the name of his channel, and his website is gekk.info, gek.info. He has a very cool how can I put it, tutorial of how to get the Cisco SPA122 to connect its 2 ports directly together when you dial a specific phone number. And I have programmed in here the number 333 so that when you dial it from either port, it just connects it to the other port. That allows me to connect one modem directly to the other modem, and they think they're on the public switch telephone network when they're not. So that's what that means. And yes, I did dial all 3. I did type all 3s in there. But what you didn't hear is that when the modem picks up, when the ATA, when the SPA122, the Cisco thing is working correctly, you'll actually hear the dial tone come through the modem. But we didn't hear that because it keeps rebooting itself and being stupid. Again, because it's a cheapy thing that I bought off eBay that is probably on eBay because it's broken. Now, the upside is I have the configuration file for it, so if you want to watch me reprogram it, I can reprogram it real quick, I think, and we can see about doing an actual demonstration. And I figure we might as well, because if we're not, the modem or the video is done here at 22 minutes. So let's go ahead and do it, and you get to watch me reprogram the thing. So let me get my laptop up over here. Make some room for the bits and pieces, and let's switcheroo the screen over to there and change some stuff around so you guys can see what I'm doing. Get the lappy lap. Okay. Wake up, laptop. Wake up, laptop. You can do it. Doing it. There it goes. Okay. So because this happens, because I knew it would be happening, I saved the configuration of the device. So the next time all I have to do is jump into it and give it the config and it'll be set. Okay. See if I can get you all situated so you can see what I'm doing here. So I'm going to plug into the back of it on the Ethernet port, because these stupid things act as routers, basically. And then I have to find the IP address here. Oh yeah, go away. Hush. Do I have to power cycle it to make it work? Maybe, I don't know. It's so, what's the term? It's so footery. Footery is the Scottish term for it. I watch Big Clive live a lot, and he likes to use those cool Scottish terms. So I've appropriated his terms. There it is. It's working now. So we go to this website. No, not that website. 192.168.15.1. Here we are. Username is admin. Password is admin. Don't care. We'll go to administration. Config management. Restore configuration. I'm going to go find the file, which is somewhere on my desktop of this laptop. I think it is. Yep, Cisco SPA122 config file. Open. Restore. So we restore that. Acid rain, those Ciscos take forever to reboot. Oh yeah, they absolutely do. So we'll restore this config, and hopefully that it'll work long enough that I can demo this silly thing for you. EXO or Apple II forever. Heck yeah. Apple II will never die. Yeah, for John Mounts, for real old systems, you could do ATDP for pulse dialing. And yes, the Baud Modem 300 supports that. So I don't know if it says it's restoring. I don't know what it's doing here. By the way, you guys see this cool mug? You like that mug? It emulates the Print Shop, the Print Shop Pro thinking screen when you go to print something out. You can also get it that says thinking on it instead of drinking. You can get these at jcm-1.com. I sell these on my website if you want one. While you're here, if you have some time too and you like my content, like my channel, hit subscribe. Hit the like button on that big thumbs up. I got 21 of you watching, but only 5 of you hit the like. So either I'm just not likable, or you forgot to hit that button. So in the words of Brankus Creations of Bruce, smash that like button. I don't know if this, it says, I don't know what it's doing. It's not blinking anymore. I'm going to just click off here, and can I log back in with the saved password? Nope, so it hasn't done it. Network setup. Did it actually do it? Administration. Remote access. Yeah, I don't know why this thing is being silly. See, I can't even do a proper demo of it on a live stream, futzing around because sorry, this video, this entire thing just it doesn't want to be made. It doesn't want to show you. It doesn't want to do it. And it's got me so grumpy. And you guys know me. I'm usually the nicest guy on earth. I'm usually so happy-go-lucky. But this thing made me so salty. Let's try this again. restore. Power light's blinking. I don't know if that means it's taking it. I don't know what that means. I have no idea. Acid Rain, OB202 boxes might work better. Yes, actually, you're probably right, because the OBs are still made and supported. There we go. Now it's doing it. Okay, fine, whatever. Yeah, the OBs are probably better. I didn't do a thorough hunt to see how to make them dial between their ports. There's also the possibility where you can use 2 ATAs, and you guys are staring at nothing. Here, look at me. I'm prettier. No, you can probably also program 2 separate ATAs to dial to each other and use 2 boxes instead of just the 1. That's also an option, but yeah, the OBs are probably going to be better. Frederick says cursed. Yeah, so Sean of Action Retro, you know, his cursed thing is just spreading to the rest of us, and it's like, I don't know, you know. There's one thing I could do to try to make it work better. I could spray paint it blue. Should I try spray painting it Cisco blue or Cisco teal to see if it'll work? Maybe. I don't know. It is still blinking over here, and hopefully it will do the thing. I'm waiting for it to come back online so I can get back into it. There, it looks like it's back online. Question is, can I log into it with my... Yes, I can log into it with the saved password, so in theory it's up and running now. So, let's get this laptop out of the way. Let's switch my camera angle and see if we can do it now. Will you work now? There you go. It's working. Hopefully you heard the modem barf there. It connected. So now what I've got is I've got the Apple II here connected from this modem to the modem underneath it over to my PC. Now, let's see if I can get both of these in shot. This is a little bit tough because it's just my museum isn't conducive for photographing wide shots here. If I type on this machine, you'll see stuff come up over here. So like, now of course, what I'm getting over here is garbage. You see that garbage? That like ASCII high text garbage I'm getting? That's what this Apple Modem 300 started doing just as I was setting up for the next step to record in this video. It just started spewing crap. No matter what I set the bits to or whatever, it just didn't work. Now, let's change this to 7 bits. Maybe that'll work better. There we go. Now I've got the baud rate correct. Okay, fine. That was my fault. But here you go. There you go. Look. You see this tilde right here that just randomly showed up on this screen? I didn't type that over on that computer. It just showed up there. So when I'm doing these connections and stuff, it was just randomly throwing barf on the screen. I'm like, I can't film this doing it. XOR, for a good time call, 8675309, 6309, haha, I get the joke there too. When you put that in there, YouTube thought you were spamming because they thought you were like a sex bot or something. So I had to click the allow button. I found that funny. Anyway, so in theory, this will function now. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to actually connect it to the BBS. That's going to require me to kick out of this real quick and to kick out of the Apple II real quick and put it in 80 column mode so that it'll actually show on the screen. So hopefully we can do this. Stand by. Let's see if I can get everything all in the shot at once so you can kind of see my process. So we're going to exit out of that. We're going to go into 80 column mode, which is hard for you guys to see, so that's why I didn't start there. So now I need to go into modem mode. Okay, let's see if it's communicating again. Nope, of course it's not. So I now need to redo the whole thing. ATDT333. Redial. Look, see? You can see that there's an extra little character on the end of it there that I didn't type after the 3. Just getting ghost noise through there. Ghost characters. Yes, Mac84. Yes, Steve. Ghost characters. So that's connected again. So now if I type on the Apple II, does it show up? Yes. And if I type on the PC, does it show up? It does. So now, yeah, and see, look, one of the H's, I was just typing H's, one of the H's became an X instead of an H. Just random junk is happening. Anyway, so the next step is, I believe that does have to be 8-bit mode. Change that to 8-bit mode, echo port. And now I do a thing over here where I connect it to the BBS. And now, because I connected it through, and you can see the BBS here, right? It's coming through on the screen there. And there you are. This is what I wanted to do. But with all these problems, I couldn't reliably make it happen. It was so annoying. Joe Williams, bit errors, perhaps line noise. I seriously doubt that it's line noise. First off, it's 300 baud, so like it's immune to like all line noise and all of that. So I really don't see that being the issue. Yeah. Let's see if I can actually log in. Just look, it's just showing garbage on the screen and like, not found. Are you a new user here? Yeah, because it doesn't take my inputs. I just typed JCM-1, which is my username, and it's just garbage. Like I can't get logged in anymore. Of course, Captain's Quarters BBS. Sorry, look, see, too many tries, it kicked me out, and like it received weird characters, and now it's all inverted. Ah, anger! all this work, 4 weeks, a month basically of work to get this done, and it just didn't work. Is my Acid Rain asked if my echo is off? Yes, echo is off. It's only echoing when it's supposed to, for lack of a better way to put it. So yeah. So, yeah. You don't get to see me grumpy very often, but oh man, it just got under my skin. If you follow me on Twitter, you've been seeing some of that come out, and some of the pictures and some of the grump. Of course, my patrons also know that as well. They were all hyped up. It's like, yeah, great, and then it's like, no, I can't do it. Frederick's like, time for a recap. Probably that modem might need a recap. It might have just randomly decided to fail. This is probably the first time that this modem 300 has dialed up to anything in probably 30 years. But it's not my modem, and I wasn't gonna go just start throwing the parts cannon at it because it's Stavros' modem, not mine. So yeah. Other questions? Do you have any compression on Acid Rain? No, it's straight 300 baud. The Apple modem, because I'm dialing from the Apple modem, it's what's determining all of the whatever, and the 56K modem is just listening for whatever that whatever protocol it receives, and then it connects with that protocol. So no, there's no compression on. Tony's like, can you load ProTerm and see if it helps? I can load ProTerm and see if it helps, but I can tell you that it won't help because I already tried it. For the love of bits, yes, I love bits. All 8 bits, but apparently, no. We're only getting 7 of them, or 9 of them, spuriously and randomly, and then there we get garbage on the screen. It could be a PAP box setting, said Acid Rain 97. I'm not sure what that is. Can you tell me what you mean by that? You mean an issue with the Cisco ATA, with the SPA 122? Yeah, it could be. I mean, the thing randomly reboots itself, and about 50% of the time when it reboots itself, so once every 2 times, basically, it will completely clear the configuration and I've got to reload it. So it wouldn't surprise me if it has an issue. Now, it's using G711 and it has all the FACS and G729 and all the other like high-end VoIP features turned off. G711 is designed to basically send Bell compliant audio signals. So there shouldn't be any issue with it, with the audio being eaten up by the protocol itself. But in addition, it's 300 baud. Like, you can have a microphone and a speaker and scream 300 baud across a room and it'll pick it up and work. Like, it's so low that it is not susceptible to a bunch of noise. Acid Raid said, is there a way to save the config? Yeah, that's how I just got it to work. When I connected it with the laptop, I had configured it before, saved the config, and then had to reprogram it right there on the fly, because between the time of earlier this evening, when I had plugged everything back in prepping for this, I did a test and it worked. And right here, as I started the stream, it rebooted itself and lost the config. So the only way I was able to get the config to work was to get the laptop out here and reprogram the thing. So yeah. So long story short, yeah, there are ways I can make it work. I can keep banging on it and keep banging on it, get a different ATA, recap this modem. I have another courier modem in case the 56K modem is the problem. Lots of different things that I can do to try to just absolutely ensure that this works. But at this point, again, I'm a month into this project and I have to move on. But I didn't want this to just go. I didn't want it to be empty-handed, especially to my patrons who have been watching the behind the scenes of this progress kind of go along a little bit. So. The only other thought I have is perhaps flow control, but I imagine you already toyed with that too. Yeah, Tony, flow control really, by default, 99.9% of the time, your flow control for hardware, either both hardware and software flow control on any modem connection is set to off. And that is, or set to none, and that's what it is in this case. I tried setting them up, but it didn't have any effect on the issue. On a voice line, but you're on a digital line, it's a different animal. Yeah, it is a different animal. But again, 300 baud, and I'm using G711, which it's a lossless compression algorithm insofar as it's designed to send Bell compliant 8-bit moolah encoded audio, which when you're converting from actual analog to digital back to analog, it's effectively the closest way you can do that analog conversion without losing anything. G711 does okay. Earlier on in my test, I didn't really talk about this, but part of my test to see, is my modem bad? What's wrong with my cables? How is this? How is that? All that. I'll show you something I did here. I've got 2 of these modems, and on my PC itself, I connected 2 of these modems together between 2 serial ports through that ATA and kept a connection all night long, and it didn't drop. And I had no garbage on the screen at all. So the ATA, the Cisco, is not really causing me any issues as far as that digital to analog. They were connected at 33.6 overnight without a problem. You know, remember back in the dial-up days and the BBS days, you know, you connect at 24.96 or whatever, and you'd be lucky to keep that for any period of time because of line noise or somebody picking up the phone. I didn't have any issues with that. It's like somebody said earlier too, I think it was Acid Rain. I asked about that. It could be a PAT box setting. I think what you're talking about is the ATA itself. It is rebooting itself and doing wackiness. And because it's rebooting itself and doing wackiness, it could just be eating the traffic. It could be dropping out, overheating and dropping out, dropping audio conversion packets or whatever while it's trying to send it between them, just suddenly out of nowhere. I mean, it was working great all the way up until the end there, and then whatever. I don't know. So yeah, I just wanted to share that and have something for the channel for everybody and show you and the coolness of this project and what I really wanted it to be, and it didn't end up being, but sigh, whatever. Here, let's make that minimal there. That way you don't have to watch me in duplicate. But yeah, I've got a lot of other projects on my bench that I wanted to get to. I've got the reverse engineering project I am doing for the Apple III. I've got 2 of them that I'm doing right now. One of which I can show you. The other one is kind of still a little bit secret. But I'm by reverse engineering, I mean copying. I'm copying the Microsoft Soft Card 3 for the Apple III. Basically as a test project to see how to do it, because I have several of these other, several projects like this that I want to get into. Luckily, that thing is super easy. It only has one custom chip on it, and it's a ROM chip. So I just dump the ROM contents, program it to another ROM, and stuff the board full of stuff, and it'll just work. Once that's up and running, then I'll be able to provide those boards for a nominal fee, of course, to the community, to anybody who wants a soft card clone for their Apple III without having to go out to eBay and pay $160 to $300 or more for one. So that, and of course the upside of that is it makes your Apple III an actual business machine. So if you want to get super nerdy with your retro emulation, you can emulate, hey, I've got a business on my Apple III, and you can do that. There's another pair of cards for the Apple III that I want to do, but these cards are so insanely rare that I'm wanting to do a couple different reverse engineering projects and get some knowledge and experience under my belt before tackling this other pair of cards. Not going to tell you what they are. It's a big secret. I do have another reverse engineering project that I am working on with a big name in the Apple II community, and that is all I can tell you. Pay attention at K-Fest. You're going to see some about that come up very, very soon. But when you see it, you're going to be, gib a card now. So, I want to get these projects done and out of the way. And having this modem thing was hanging over me. I needed to get it done. This needs to go away. What else is going on in the museum? I've got another review for something for Reactive Micro for Henry Corbis coming up real soon. I started work and filming on that yesterday, but this is another product to be released soon. It is not public yet, so you'll be finding out in a couple days what that is once the video gets done. But until then, again, I can't tell you about it. All I can tell you is I got all this cool stuff that I can't tell you about. It makes me grumpy. Acid Rain, look in your jitter values. Yes, the jitter values are set all the way to the settings that they need to be set. I don't remember what it's exactly called on this device. It's either ultra high or ultra low, one or the other. Set it, didn't have any effect. Things that I can tell you about that I want to get working on that are just kind of sitting in the background. We got over here, can you see it? Can I turn the camera so you can see some things? I can only turn it so far because I got projects over there in that corner. So right here is an Atari ST520. 520 ST, whatever it's called. I don't remember. I'm not a huge Atari 16-bit guy. But this got sent to me by Alex Jaycox. He's like, Joe, if you can get it up and running, give me some money and it's yours. So that's in progress. I'm going to be doing a video on that. But the first step is it doesn't come with a power supply. It didn't come with a hard drive. It didn't come with a mouse or anything. He got it just as this bare unit. It's like, can you make it work? So the first step is he's got to make a power supply for it. I've already done that. So that's in the works in the background. So that is chugging along. And, I've got a whole bunch of computers back here. How far over can I get you? Yeah, I can't get you really any farther than that. But computers over that way. I've got an Amiga I want to get working and present. I've got a TI 994A I want to get working and present to everybody. I've got a, what else is over there? I got a IBM PC Junior. I have a whole lot of computers that came from a fellow Apple II enthusiast on the Apple II Facebook community that I purchased as a lot that I've had for like a year and a half, 2 years. Well, gosh, it's almost been 3 years now. It's like it was the the pre-weird times, so to speak, if you know what I'm talking about, the pre-work from home times, that I got those that are over there. I've got a recap job over here for another person. They want me to recap their SE30. I need to get that done, and just lots and lots of stuff to do. John Mounts, flux capacitor, yes. Mr. Fusion. How about an FPGA SSI263 chip? You know, that is a really good suggestion. I have already had some conversations with some people about that. And it would probably not be as complex as you might think. Basically, you need the hardest part is going to be emulating all the digital pin stuff to get it to recognize commands on an 8-bit bus or whatever bus it is, I don't know. In order to receive commands from the computer. But the audio side is easy. You just you get an MP3 audio engine for an FPGA and a ROM, like a 2 megabyte ROM chip with samples. And you just, once it receives a series of phonemes, you just play the samples in order and spit it out. You know, that part, the audio part's probably the easiest part. It's the interfacing that's hard. Bruce asks, hey Joe, where are you going with that gun in your hand? Yes. Justin Morgan, hey Justin, how you doing? Bruce says, how many PC Junior sidecars do you have? 0, exactly none. I'm not sure what sidecars mean. Do you mean by sidecars? Are you talking about not the PC Junior? Are you talking about the TI-99 4A? You're talking about that where you can get like 15 miles of connections, and by the time you get out to mile 15, nothing works because there's so much noise on the bus. I have none of those. John has 2 SSI 263s in my phaser. Sir, can you send me one? No, I'm kidding. I don't. I would love to. I would love to have one to be able to reverse engineer it to get audio samples of all the different sounds that it made for that process. But you know, whatever. Yeah, the SSI 263 is a speech synthesizer. It's a phoneme-based speech synthesizer. It has a pre-programmed set of. They're not even voice samples. It's more like wavetable program something or other. But basically, you give it simple commands, and it can string together sounds the human mouth can make. But you don't type it in by like giving it actual words. You have to know what your phonemes are and what those phonemes sound like. But long story short, you can send it a list of phonemes and make it sound like just about any human voice you want, albeit somewhat robotic. So yeah, it's kind of a speech synthesizer in a way. Bruce says, I thought it was the PC Junior that had all those boxes attached to the side. Oh, no. Now that's definitely the TI-99 4A. TI-99 4A sidecars. Let me see if I can find a picture real quick. And I'll just point my camera at the screen. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, here it is. Maybe I can put a link in there for you guys. Yeah. Here's a link. So if anybody wants to see what it is, here's a link to a website that shows all of those sidecars. Doink! There it is. But yeah, the PC, Ron, the PC Juniors has sidecars, or the side cards. How do those work? They both do it? Huh, okay. I didn't know. See, and this is why I love hanging out with you guys, because you teach me things. You teach me things I didn't know, and you make me have more things I have to go out and buy for my museum. Fun fact about my museum, it's only 16 feet by 16 feet. Pretty small. So, yeah. The peripheral expansion box. Yeah. John's like, if you have my address from JCM1, so if you get there, let me know, we can work something out. Absolutely. So, yeah, just lots of different things going on. And, you know, I kind of also, if you guys have watched my video in the past, I from time to time have a depression / anxiety thing that happens. Uh, don't worry, it's nothing insanely crazy. I just get really blah, and that kind of happened during this modem project as well. I just didn't. I just stopped. There were several days where I just didn't do anything, and it's got me all behind, and I'm friggin' tired of it. I'm breaking out of that stupid cycle, and you know, getting into back into the projects that I have on the bench here. I have so many of them. I wish I could tell you about all of them, but I'm under. I don't want to say I'm under NDAs. I don't literally have non-disclosure agreements with these things, but some of these things are so cool, and they're potential products for sale as well. And I don't want to tip my hat. They're things I want to be able to provide to the community as inexpensively as possible, and still, I make a little bit for myself for the time that it took to do it, obviously. But put those up on jcm-1.com so people have a place, to get replacement things like. They're like, the compact flash for Apple II cards and stuff like that. Those are super awesome. And I want to be able to make some things that uh, are recreations of originals, like the Saturn card and stuff like that too. I wanted to kind of do my own thing, but I've been attacking the Apple III angle a little bit because the Apple III is seriously underserved as far as that goes. You can connect a floppy EMU to it or a compact flash to Apple II to it, but that's about it. There aren't a lot of aftermarket things you can do with the Apple III, right? It's just because it's the redheaded stepchild, and I want to change that. I want to make the Apple III one of those cool things that if you can get a hold of one, everybody's going to want to have an Apple III in their collection, and get these Apple IIIs out of storage and get them up and running and used again. So that's kind of what I'm doing. An S100 computer build will cheer you up, Transistorized said. Hold on just a second. You may not know, but I'll show you something. Some of you might not all know about this. I'll pull out a couple of these projects. There we go. A little dusty. So Transistorized says, Super Chad, $5 donation to get Joe on a plane, to get to Computer Reset, to buy all the PC Junior sidecars. Yes. The cool thing, here's the cool thing. There are so many Apple II and Apple III enthusiasts like me who are down in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I just got to twist one of their arms and tell them to go over there and get them for me. The trick is getting the parts then from Texas up to Ohio, because I live in the middle of nowhere in Ohio. So, Transistorized said an Apple or an S100 computer build will cheer you up. Well, what he doesn't know is I've got my own 8-bit computer that I designed here. If you go back through my catalog, you'll find it. It's similar in concept to an S100, although it uses the 62502 instead. Or you could also think of it as a retro computer, kind of like the RC 2014. Of course, we pay respects to Kim LeBroch, who just recently passed away from COVID, the developer of the RC 2014 project. Heard about that last night. Super sad about that. I've been following that project for years. I've never gotten one of their boards yet, but I've always watched with interest. And to see that community lose its leader is just, it hurts a lot. So, but this is my JCM1 computer. I would love to demo this right now, but it's really complicated to get it set up and running because it's serial only, and I don't really have a way to get that up and running, show it to you really easily. But yeah, it's wire wrapped. Yeah. Has a 6502 processor in it. 128K of RAM, although only 64 of it's really accessible right now. It has 128K of ROM as well, again, but I'm only using like 4K of it at the moment. I use a simple ROM chip as a memory mapper instead of using a whole bunch of logic chips. This just has a map of programmed locations that tell it which of its 8 data bits to turn on and off, so I can have up to 8 memory mapped locations effectively. It has of course, it's got a serial chip, the 6551 serial chip, which allows me to connect it to any device with serial. And it's got a 6522 chip, which is it's basically the general I/O chip for the 6502 processor. Here's the coolest thing. This is what I really wanted to do. It has, if you can see right here, it has sound. And so what you have right here is this is the coolest thing. I've got two AY3 8910s. Now I could have used SID chips, which is actually easy enough to do now. I could use the SID chip instead because the SID is specifically designed to communicate directly to the 6502, and I might change the design, but right now I'm using the AY3 8910 sound chip, or the PSG as it's called, because you can get fake ones from China that actually work, and they work fine, so I'm not worried about it. But here's the coolest thing. These three chips right here are potentiometers. They are digital potentiometers, and I use those not to turn, which it's like a twistable dial for like loudness. But what I've done is I've wired these up so that all 6 voices, the 3 voices for each chip, this chip and this chip, can be independently dialed left or right. So this thing, right? Justin Morgan, $4.99. I'll chip in to help get parts from Dallas, star, to middle of nowhere, Ohio, or where else you find them. Thank you, Justin. I appreciate that. So yeah, this is set up to have 6-channel stereo audio. You know, what I want JCM1 to be eventually is my dream 8-bit computer. And I'm going to show you where I am with that. All of this basic stuff here for the JCM1 is super easy. It wasn't that complicated. It took a while basically to get done. It took me about a year to get it to this point. The last time I worked on it in any severe fashion was 2019. It took forever just because it's a lot of manual labor to get it to that point, not that it was complicated. What was complicated is this thing. If you guys have seen Ben Eater make a VGA, I think he calls it the world's worst video card out of logic chips, this is kind of sort of in the same vein. This is where I ended up stopping at the JCM1 project. This is an NTSC, or American Television Video Generator. It can't take any commands from an outside computer right now. Peer pressure made me do it. Brankus Creations, $5. Thank you, Bruce. I do appreciate that very much. And again, everybody, you know, if you want more peer pressure, you know, drop some super chats in there and help a fella out. No, but seriously though, this makes an American NTSC video signal, right? This is pretty much all TTL logic. It's got a couple of CMOS chips on it, mainly because they had better rise fall characteristics. That's down. Where are those on this circuit? Actually, I have a couple of the chips yanked out. Those are right in this area right here. I'm using buffers as a delay line effectively. Looking. Yes, I'm using buffers as a delay line for the phasing for color generation, for color pixels. Right now, this just has a basic ROM in it, so it displays color bars. That's all it does. And I was wanting to see what it would take to design, at the very least, the way they did it on the Apple II and any of those old computers where the video signal was literally brute forced with TTL logic. I wanted to see what it would take to do that, and after I got through it, I came to the conclusion that trying to get that connected to JCM1, no, I'm not doing that. So that's where the JCM1 project stalled. That's a long about way of saying to transistorize. Building an S100 will make you happy. Yeah, I should get back to that project. Frederick Sigard is asking, will it do text? No, it will not. The JCM1, so this thing, all this does right now is it takes the video values. It doesn't even have ROM. Yes, it has a static frame buffer. It just takes the values of 0 through 255 and streams them across the screen in order. line by line by line to show like a set of rainbow color bars. That is all this can do right now. However, if you add extra logic to it and an actual RAM frame buffer with either a dual port RAM, or you do the on off, the phase 0, phase 1 cycle like just about every 6502 computer does, you can pump pixels into a frame buffer, and this thing will just yank it'll yank a pixel, each pixel being an 8-bit value. Each byte represents a color, basically. It can yank those out of a frame buffer and show it to the screen. So as it sets right now, it does nothing. The JCM1 here can show text. If you go back and look at my project codename JCM1, making an 8-bit computer project on my channel, it goes into all the detail of how that works. This guy makes text via ANSI to a serial terminal right now, and that's just controlled via the ROM, the monitor ROM I have programmed into it. I even have a couple games up and working on it and all of that stuff. So yeah. Garth says, nice LED lamp controller. What do you mean? What do you mean about that? I'm not sure what you mean about that. Are you like, I have a nice one? Or is that a suggestion for something I should do? I'm not sure. Ron says, I think the project videos about this machine were some of the first JCM videos I watched. Yes, thank you. That's kind of where it started, where the channel really started to take off when I built that. Before that, I was doing periodic reviews from time to time of my own computers, like at exhibitions. It's like, here, look, I own an Apple II. That's great, but I wanted to do something a little bit more than that, and this project really kind of got that started. I really do need to get back to it at some point, but what's really got me stuck with JCM1 is I want it to be my, my awesome fate, my dream 8-bit computer, to steal the 8-bit guy, to steal David Murray's thing, his idea. Although I started on my computer first, but he has more progress because he has way more resources and a whole bunch of smart people to help him out. But what was I doing? What was I thinking? Oh yeah, I just got distracted. But I really want to get this to be my dream computer. I want to have a video controller that has 256 colors, because that's more than plenty for an 8-bit computer, honestly. I mean, look at the Apple II. It has 6 colors, unless you're using, double high-res, and it has, what, 13 or 14 colors. I mean, 256 is awesome. I want to have 256 colors. I want it to be able to send video to an NTSC American television, because I want it to be somewhat period accurate. But it's got to be powerful. I don't want it to be a plain static frame buffer. I want it to have sprite capabilities. I want it to have primitives, like I want to draw a circle to the screen. You tell the video controller to draw the circle to the screen, so it'll be fast, so I can program arcade-style games on it, right? If I ever get to that point. That's what I want JCM1 to do, but the video controller is just the sticking point. In order to get past that, I'm going to have to learn how to program an AVR or something to do all of the heavy lifting, and have some sort of single byte, multi-byte input-output port to shove data from the computer itself to the video controller or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, so anyway, yeah, that's JCM1 there. Of course, JCM1 named after Joe's Computer Museum, and then my website, JCM-1, is named after the computer because it just kind of made sense. Yeah, so many cool things going on. Garth said nice LED lamp controller. I'm not sure what Garth means by that. Can you all hear me? I'm not seeing anything in the chat here. I don't know if the chat's not working anymore or what here, but hello. But yeah, it is what it is. I did make, maybe he's talking about the website, I don't know. If you guys attended Kansas Fest last year, you'll see that I made this thing. right here. Oh yeah, you can hear me. Okay. I assume it was the color bars. Yeah. So you know, it's super bright. This is the LED light, the LED bright I made to make just to be whatever. It's a kit you can get again at jcm-1.com if you want one. But basically, it allows you to do a 16 by 16 grid of any color of LEDs, any picture of LEDs you want. That I thought that was neat. Yeah, you have that. That's awesome, right? Did I? Yeah, that's right. You do have one of those. Yes, those are super cool. You can get them if you get them from my site. You can get an Apple II or an Apple logo um, uh, as one of the LED packs. You can get the Commodore Chicken Lips logo if you want to do that. Also, if you wanted to just order the LEDs by just by individual LEDs in color, you do want me to make you a custom kit that you can shove the LEDs in there and do that. You can do that, you know. Gar said, mine is super bright. Is there any way to make it dimmer? Yes. The primary way you would make that dimmer is to use higher value resistors. The resistors that I send out with my kits are a balance between too dull and too bright. Trust me, they're they're not as bright as the as long as I can plug it into a dot matrix printer, I'm good. Yeah. Trust me, the prototype I made of that for Kansas Fest 2019, that was my door hanger and my tie for the tie contest. You Kansas Fest folks know what I'm talking about. It was so bright, it was blinding people, and I had to like put a piece of paper over top of it. Trust me, this version is quite a bit not brighter. I played around with resistor values, and what I found is the resistor values, if I tamed it down so they weren't so bright, it just made it dull and kind of hard to see, in my opinion. So, you know, whatever. If you place an order with me and you want it to be not bright, put a note in the order or send me an email after you place the order, and I can see about getting you higher value resistors for your kit specifically. It doesn't cost me anything extra. Resistors are like tenths of a cent each. They're no big deal. Most of the cost in that kit is actually in the board themselves because they're fairly large boards. So yeah. But yeah, other things I got. If you have, I just actually had to do this with my Apple IIc. Not this Apple IIc I'm doing for this demo, but another one that one of my super secret projects. I was using my Apple IIc for testing purposes, and when I had the Apple II open, I broke it. I broke my Apple IIc, and what I broke was the keyboard controller. But the upside is there's this guy named Joe Strohsnyder with a website called jcm-1.com, and he makes replacement keyboard controllers for Apple IIs. That was another one of my reverse engineering projects. If you go back to the video, what is it? My Apple III restoration videos, one of my Apple IIIs had a bad keyboard controller because a battery exploded or mice got into it and created a nest. I don't know what happened there. But I needed to create a replacement keyboard controller. You can go on eBay and buy them, but the keyboard controller for the Apple III it's the same as the Apple II, but the mask ROM built into it for both the keyboard matrix, or basically for the keyboard matrix, when a certain button is pressed, what to send out of the controller is different, and some of the function signals are different as well. So it's not like I could just get a random one and throw it in there. So I'm like, okay, this is a problem that's going to become an issue more and more. So I designed a replacement keyboard encoder, and after about three versions, it's now universal. That keyboard encoder works in any Apple II or any Apple III by just simply moving a jumper. So hopefully that's out there, and people have a source for keyboard encoders that aren't counterfeit, that aren't pulls from other computers, that aren't big question mark or whatever. It's like, I don't know what this thing is. You don't have to go, use acetone to try to rub the chip you get off of eBay or off of Alibaba or something to see if it's real. You get it from me. It's built in Ohio right here on this bench, shipped out with fully confirmed firmware, and it goes out and it works. CS says, "Hi, Joe's Computer Museum. Could you make an Apple III or Apple IIe card that does nothing but has an Apple LED design like your lead brake kit? That would look sweet in the clear case." Aha! So, yes and no. Stand by. You mean something like, I almost fell over. Something like one of these. So this is a 16 by 16 Neopixel or RWS something, whatever. They're little programmable RGB pixels, and it's got power and signal lines on the back of it. And you can individually address each of these lights and make it whatever color you want. If you, again, another video I already did on this. I did a presentation at Kansas Fest 2020, and then also did a video recently of actually tricking out my clear case with this same project. It's called, I call it the Neopixel Project, because that's what Adafruit or SparkFun or whoever it is calls these things. They call them Neopixels. But I've already set up a design where you can program a strip of them from an Arduino that is programmed from the Apple II. In theory, this is exactly the same. This is a strip of these, except it fishes back and forth like this. So it's a strip of 256 effectively. If you look really carefully, you can actually see the control line snake back and forth on the back of it. So in theory, this could be connected to that same Neopixel trick that I did on a previous video. Just go back and look at my video catalog. It was only a couple months ago. And you can also go to jcm-1/Neopixel and get the code for it. 1/Neopixel. You can go to there. That's my website. You can get the code for it, program it to an Arduino, hook it up to the to a Neopixel strip or one of these programmable strips, and you can program colors onto that strip or fade patterns or whatever that you want. And this, in theory, something like this, which is basically the same as that, could be done, and you could program it from the Apple II. You could program it to show whatever you wanted, in theory. The trick is power. Now, Garth just said, how much power does it use? And that is the problem. This thing right here, I have not calculated what this thing will take, but I do know that the 60 LED string that I have in my clear case Apple II pulls something around, gosh, how many watts is it? A lot? I don't know. It's a lot. It's a lot. I'd have to go back again. If you go back and look at my presentation video about it from Kansas Fest 2019, I actually state in that video how much it takes, and that's just a 60 LED string. When you crank it all the way up to full brightness, this thing would be the wattage divided by 60 times 256. So it's going to be even more. This thing, gosh, 20 or 30 watts probably. This thing at full brightness is basically the same kind of panel that it's like a strip. It's like a white strip light, an LED strip light, a 4-foot strip light that goes up on your ceiling. It's huge. It uses a lot of power. And that there becomes the problem. If you connect one of these things to your Apple II with my Neopixel project, you're going to likely have to power it from an external power supply, an external 5-volt, like 40-watt power supply, because the power supply in the Apple II cannot power that. For my Neopixel strip in my clear case, what I'm using Reactive Micro's replacement power supply, because that thing will output absolute gobs and gobs of power. It's like a 6-amp supply, and the 60 LED string only uses like 3 or 4 amps, so 3 times 4, 20 watts. Yeah, it uses a lot of power. So that's going to be a concern. But this, even with the Reactive Micro power supply, it would not be able to run this at full brightness and run the Apple II. You would trip the supply. This thing you would have to use a dedicated external supply with probably like a 10 or 12 amp external supply for this to make that work, just because of the amount of juice it uses. So yeah. So that's the trick. The programming part is the easy part. I already did all of that. All you have to do is take my code and change it in two places to say 256 and instead of 60 for the number of LED pixels it has. The power is the big issue there. So, yeah. Oh gosh, how long have we been streaming for tonight? How long has it been? I don't know. I can't count. Oh, it's been about an hour or so. Yeah. Again, thanks to everybody who came by tonight to hang out with me and listen to me rant, rave, and complain about how I couldn't get this Apple II BBS project working. I so wanted it to work. It was going to be the coolest video. You know, I had the script all written and everything, but it didn't want to do the thing, you know. We have 26 watching here. I've got 20 likes. Thank you very much. If you're relatively new to this video, hit that like button for me. If you're new to my channel and you're just now catching my live stream, hit the like button too. Go back and watch some of my videos and subscribe. I do some really, really nifty stuff here. So, yeah. Mike's Mac Shack, $5. Blow something up. Okay, so Mike's Mac Shack wants me to blow something up. And here's the thing. We can do that if you want to, because I have a bench power supply that can put out 30 amps, 5 amps, I don't know. It'll put out a lot of juice. And then we can hook up an electrolytic capacitor to it and blow it up if you want. It might be fun. Or maybe a tantalum. We can connect a tantalum backwards and see if we can start a fire. I don't know if I want to do that. I don't want to catch my bench on fire. Andrew Doan said, I missed it. What was the project? Yes, Andrew. So, as the name of the stream implies, I was making... blow up my Android phone. I don't have an Android phone. Andrew, the project was, I was making a video for the last month or so of trying to get a... do give Joe, let me do that. I was trying to get a Apple II to connect to a modern BBS, i.e. a BBS on the internet using Telnet, but using an original 300 baud Apple modem. And the process was connect Apple II to Apple modem, connect Apple modem to a thing that emulates a phone line, because I don't have a phone line here and there's nothing to dial into anymore. Dial that into another modem that's also sitting on my bench, and then that other modem would connect to a PC that would do all the magicals, all the magic digicals to connect out to the internet. And I can even switch it. Earlier in the stream, we did manage to kind of sort of get it working there. We were able to sort of make it work, but as you can see with some of this garbage on the screen here, it wasn't the modem itself here. Right as I was finishing getting the project working, the modem went wacky and it started doing garbage. So basically, this video was to show that I was doing the thing and to complain that it took me 4 months to get absolutely nowhere. So I figured I got to just share it a little bit. Brankus, Bruce says, do it! Yeah! Garth said, I presume, blow up a capacitor or something is what you're asking about. Do give Joe a subscribe. Yes, thank you, Justin. Garth, what model is it? What are you asking which model it is? My power supply? If you're asking about my bench power supply, it is a Tech Power Tango Papa 3005 Tango TP3005T. And I will put those in there. That is going to be Tango Papa 3005 Tango. It's like a $70 or $80 bench power supply. It goes up to 30 volts, 5 amps or something like that. The thing will put out a crap ton of juice. And I use it to do all of my my bench electronics projects. Like I use it to power this when I'm doing testing and stuff, because it has overcurrent prevention and stuff. You know, when I add a new circuit to a project like this, I'll set my current to just above what the thing is taking now. and then it prevents me from blowing stuff up when I don't want to blow it up. You know, that's the main reason I have it. JCM1 here though is cool. It's 5 volts, and it'll run off a USB power supply. You can just plug a USB right into the top of it and works. It does the thing. Everybody wants me to blow up a capacitor. Oh gosh, you guys are gonna make me. You're gonna make me catch my bench on fire. You're gonna get me demonetized, and all of that stuff. Andrew Jones says, use another courier. Those things last forever. Yeah, you missed it. I have one. I got 2 of them, and I did use the courier for testing, but I could use a courier to make the Apple II connect to the BBS, but like that wasn't the point. That's always good to not blow things up when you don't want to. Yes, yes, yes. Current regulation, good thing. But the whole point, Andrew, of this project was I wanted to get an Apple II using original hardware, an original modem to connect to a BBS like it did back in the mid-'80s. That's what I wanted to accomplish. And because the modem was being dumb, I couldn't get it to work correctly. It just would not function. And that kind of blew up the entire idea of the project. It just didn't do the thing. So let's see here. Let's switch to here. Let's switch to Benchcam. Let's move some of my projects around and get them kind of put away and out of the way. You go there, and you go there. You go there, and you go there. Stand by. Gotta put stuff away. Oh, did that fall over? Yes, it did. Yeah, I know you can't see me. Just hang up for a minute. All right, I'm coming back. So somebody wants me to blow something up, so we're going to see if we can blow something up. First off, let's turn off the Apple II and unplug it in case I trip a circuit, because I don't want to hurt my precious 8-bit computer. And then we're going to turn off the modem and unplug that, because that's not my modem, and I'm not going to blow up somebody else's modem. Unplug all of the electrodigital things. Okay, so now I need an explosion containment pie dish. Now, if you watch Big Clive, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, the explosion containment pie dish. This is too small. That will not work. Stand by. Here we go. I think this will work. Yep. That'll be big enough. We're going to use the lid to my ultrasonic cleaner. Herb, I don't need you to blow up a capacitor, but I feel for you to blow up a 74LS125. Oh, well, I don't have to do that, Herb. I do not have to do that. Because I've already done it. I have already done it. Let's see, where is it? There you go. There's your busted 74LS125. What those of you who don't follow the Apple IIs very too specifically, the 74LS125 is a chip in the disk to disk drive that if you plug the ribbon cable into the disk 2 controller off by 1 or off by a row or something, it puts 12 volts to the chip instead of 5, and it goes up in smoke. So yeah. Let's see, what capacitor will we do? Let's do one. I've got a lot of them. I've got a lot of these little 4.7 micros, so we'll use one of those. You guys are going to get me in trouble. That's fine. It's the point. It's entertainment, to have fun, right? Right. So we're going to be, we can call this the RIFA experiment, if you like. I don't have enough room on my bench to do this. Stand by. Need to move some stuff around. Put the Apple IIc away over here. Put the monitor out of the way, and the modems and stuff are going to go over here because my power supply leads are too short. Get this out of the way. That's fine. It's better that my collectibles aren't even on the bench when I do this. Okay, let's remove the camera again. So now my power supply leads are where they need to be. So we're going to get helping hands and hold these. Do this and get that connected and set up. Okay, so we're going to actually, this is electrolytic, so we're going to plug it in backwards, right? Closes dials and dials 9, 1, Oh yeah, yeah. I remember that. It was you, me, Javier. Back in Kansas Fest 2019, me, Javier, and Chris Torrance were in the nerd room, as I call it, where they all, where like Sark and all the hardware hackers hang out, and they were doing recording a video of modding a Disk 2 drive to put the multicolor status LED in it, and Javier killed his drive live. It was kind of funny, but kind of funny in a sad way. But you know, it is what it is. So let's get this kind of situated so you can see the thing. There we are. So first off, can you see the power supply? Let's see if we can get you to see the power supply as well. So we're going to turn it on. You can see what my defaults are. 5 volts and like no amps at all. So we need to crank that up as high as it goes. And we don't want to go too high. We'll go to right about there. And voltage, what voltage is this thing here? This is rated at 50 volts. Well, I can't give it 50 volts, but I'm going to be giving it the sauce. That's for darn sure. So voltage, I don't know, 25 volts. Sure, 25 volts. Okay, so we're going to turn this off. I'm going to move this to the side because I need to reach in and turn the supply on. And I don't want to kill myself doing it. And we're going to aim it away from ourselves. Okay. 120 volts AC. I can't, guys, I can't do that. I'd have to go back. I did this, though. Now you got me scared. Now I really don't want to do it. Do I have to do it? Can I blow up an LED instead? Can I blow up an LED instead? You got me afraid. I don't want to. Anyway, I did a video for Independence Day, for United States Independence Day, where I blew up LEDs and resistors and capacitors with AC. It's called Technopendence Day, I think is how I titled it. I think that's what I called it, Technopendence Day. Go back and look for that. I blew stuff up. I blew up stuff there. Yeah, I don't. Yeah. You got me afraid. We can do an LED though. You're gonna see one of the coolest things LEDs do when they explode. I'm not afraid to do an LED, and you'll see why in a moment. What LED? Pick a color, guys. Blue, green, white, yellow, orange, red, violet. I have the entire color of the rainbow. Prankus, Bruce, stop stalling. Oh, no, okay. So let's do a blue LED. Let's see what a blue LED does when we give it the sauce. What happens when we give a blue LED the sauce? Are we ready? Blue LED explosion. 3, 2, 1. Nothing happened. That's why I was willing to do the LED. LEDs, when they die, they usually fail instantly The little bond wire inside them acts as a fuse, and they just pop like that. So yeah, yeah. No, I'm not. No, I'm not going to do a capacitor. I can my my response to peer pressure only goes so far. I need to turn my current back down to normal level. Stand by. I'm just resetting the power supply here because it's at 25 volts. And the last thing you want to do is leave that at 25 volts, go to plug it into some 5 volts, and then you really do a big boom. So yeah, some extra spicy sauce. Oh, face cam. Boo, I'm sorry. I don't want to fill my shop with smoke right now. Give Mike his $5 back. You want to see fire? I'll light a match. How's that sound? Note to self, blow up capacitor in the next live stream. Yeah. Yeah, maybe we'll do that. If I'm more prepared and I have a setup where I can do it out in the garage where the floor is concrete and stuff like that, I'd be a little less leery about doing that. Yeah, I got cold feet at the last second. I didn't want to fill my shop with smoke and be like whatever. So yeah. Michael's workshop, we were misled about the extent of the damage that would occur. Yeah, that's the thing about LEDs. They tend, even if you connect one of these LEDs to 120 volts, you'll usually hear a tiny little tick and it'll be gone because the little bond wire in there acts as a fuse and it pops instantly. Every once in a while, the bond wire will last just long enough that the top of the LED will snap off and fly across. And again, if you go look at my Technopendence Day video, that happened to one of the LEDs. It went poof and went off like a rocket. So yeah, that was an LED joke. Yeah, I know, I saw it. Caps smell lousy when they blow anyway. Yes, they are awful. Joe, what happened with your local talk adapters? Any update on that? You mean these things right there? I got them. I mean, there was some, in case anybody doesn't know about that, I did a video for Marchintosh where I created, hey Garcia, have a good evening. I did a video where I made like homemade local talk adapters. And then, did a couple videos after that testing them and using them. And there was some clamor in the community for me to make a pre-made version that you could go to my website and buy, but the project is such an easy soldering project. I felt really bad trying to productize that. So what I did is in my video, I share the entire process from beginning to end of just making one. They're not that hard to make if you got basic soldering skills. All of the bits and pieces you need are right there in that video. You go to mouser.com or eBay or anywhere and buy the bits and pieces and just make one. It's not a big deal. If I had to productize it, if that's the term, if I had to market it, I think the cost would be, it would cost just as much as some of the phone net adapters that you can just buy on eBay, based on the materials and the labor to put it together. My JCM-1 is a business to some extent that I run to help fund all this back here. And my concern with those is always balancing the novelty of the product and the need of the product against what it costs to be affordable to the community to be a seller, against the third thing, against how long it would take me to make them compared to demand. At some point, depending on where that balance is, it's not cost effective and it takes me a long time to make them. And it didn't feel like it would be the right balance for me to do that. It would almost be feeling like I was doing a disservice to the community to productize and market it. So if you want one, just go back and look at my video and just follow the instructions that are in the video. They are literally uncomplicated to make. They take about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour to I would say a novice level solderer person to make one. Being the hardest part being soldering the wires to the DIN 8 connector. Those are always a pain in the butt. But yeah, so RetroTech Chris. Hey Joe, hey RetroTech Chris, how are you this evening? Did you just show up? If you just showed up, you missed a whole bunch of cool stuff, like me almost blowing up a capacitor on purpose, then chickening out because I didn't want to fill my shop with smoke. You can blame Bruce and Mike on that. No, no, that's fine. Again, anybody who's stepping in recently would be, this video was about trying to get an Apple II to connect to a BBS through an original 300 baud modem, emulating phone lines in the whole 9 yards, so that for the most part, the Apple just thought it was connecting to a BBS the old school way. And it was about the 1 month process I went through trying to get this video done, and it just would not go. Every step of the way, something broke, something didn't work correct. I had to do a workaround, change this, change that, blah, 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 blah. And at 4 weeks, I'm done. I demoed it, and the project's done, and I couldn't put a slash through it and move on to other cool stuff. So yeah, and that's okay, Chris. This I didn't pre-advertise this live stream. I didn't know I was going to be available to do this live stream until this morning, basically. I have some other projects I'm working on over here that I was waiting on parts, and I didn't know when the parts would arrive until this morning. So I had basically this one evening window to do this. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to do the stream about this project so we can get it done. Michael's Workshop. I would like to see someone make a proper PCB so we can also make a 3D printed case as well. So here's what I want you to do, Michael. I want you to bug me and keep bugging me, because if there's enough bugging, I will eventually make one of these things. The way I did it is I used punch down connect. Come on, can you focus on the right thing? Yeah, I used modular RJ45 punch down connectors, so you can just use plain old standard Ethernet cables for that project. If I PCBify this, then what I have to do is I have to find modular connectors that solder onto the board that are easy enough for everyday people to solder, so it's not like this kind of running to use the movie reference, running around knees bent advancing behavior. To try to get that to work. So that's the biggest challenge to doing it. And I could do it too, where I just sell PCBs, and along with the PCB, you get a free download of a 3D printed SCAD file or something, or a G code or STL or whatever it's called, where you can do that. So. And he says, I'm not trying to create work for anyone. I just don't know of the PCB software end of it. And no, don't get me wrong. I don't think you're trying to create work for me at all or anything like that. That wasn't my intention to say it that way. It's right now, though, as far as my projects go, I got a lot going on. So I don't know if I could personally do that. It is not not anytime soon anyway. It is not a complicated design. I could probably whip it together in sprint layout in probably an evening if I had the time to do it. But that's my issue right now, is just I've got these things over here, these two computers that need to be recapped, that I need to get back to a customer. Yes, in case you're out there listening and you are in the United States and you watch Mac 84, if you watch Steve's stuff, or if you watch Brinkus Creations, you watch his stuff fixing motherboards. I do that too. So if you're in the Midwest, I'm in Ohio, and you need your I tend to do Mac SEs, Mac Classics, or Classic Macs, small Macs, and old 8-bit computers. If you need anything recapped or repaired, feel free to go to jcm-1.com to my contact page and contact me and ask me if I can do it for you, because I can do those repairs. So anyway, but I got repairs going on, and I've got these reverse engineering projects that I'm working with a couple different other names in the Apple II and Mac community to do these projects for them. So I don't have a lot of time to do it. Yes, yes, PCBs, those local talk adapters seem to be silly expensive on me. Yeah, they are. They're like, they're the cheapest. When I was doing research for the video, the cheapest that I was able to find, a single, not a pair, mind you, which you need a pair in order for it to work, but a single phone net adapter, like a Farallon phone net adapter, not the local talk, not the actual proper local talk adapter from Apple, the phone net adapter, that was 45 bucks. 45 friggin' dollars for one. This project here, if you buy enough to make 4 or 5 of them, these things cost approximately, also not including labor, because if you're making it yourself, time is time, it's your hobby. These cost about 7 bucks. The most expensive part being these two things right here. These things are about $1.50 a piece, depending on how cheap you find them, right? So, I mean, they are really, these things are so inexpensive to make. They're such a great little project. I really should get to making PCBs for them. I just got to find the time to get it done, you know? So that's, you know, that's the thing with that. So, anywho, oh man, I've just been sitting here yapping for an hour and a half. 30 watching. Wow, where did you all come from? I started streaming an hour and a half ago. Where are you guys coming from? 30 of you watching, only 24 likes. If you just showed up, hit the like button if you like it. If you like my stuff and my content. And if you were new to my channel and haven't seen my stuff before, go check it out. And if you like that stuff, hit the subscribe button so that when I do these videos, you'll get notified. You tweet. Oh, yes, you did. Mr. Mac84 tweeted me out. Thank you very much, Steve. I do appreciate that. I saw that and I gave you some love on your tweet. I do appreciate that a lot. YouTube just, oh yeah, that's right. YouTube does that thing where it's like, oh yeah, by the way, there's a live stream that started an hour ago. I remember that. That's why I try to tweet it out ahead of time, or put a comment on YouTube. But this, I kind of just like, this was a spur of the moment kind of thing. So if you like it, put a ping on it. Yes. Yeah, but anybody who's new here who doesn't know my channel, go check out some of my stuff. Hit some likes on the stuff you like. And that's the other thing too. YouTube, the one thing that really helps YouTubers like me grow our channels are not just people liking it, or not just people watching the video. That's, that helps it a little bit, but it's people hitting the like button on videos that they like, and in that level of engagement. That is what helps YouTube know what content is good. The more liked videos get more gooder, they get promoted more, which means you get more views, which means you get more likes, that's what helps fuel that. So if there are any of you old timers out there who've been watching my channel forever and haven't been giving me the thumbs upses, hit me the thumbs upses on my stuff. I really do appreciate that. I'm really trying to grow this thing out to something a little bit more than 600 or 800 views per video. I want to get up into that several thousand per video, because I've got a lot of cool tricks and tips and fixing things and stuff that I like to show people, and hopefully get some helpful information back out to the community. Like, hey, don't spend $45. Build one of these and spend $7. I want to get people to know about that so we can grow the retro computer community out more. So it is what it is. You and me both want several thousand per video. Yes, absolutely. That is the trick. And YouTube is such a weird thing, though. Trying to grow your stuff on YouTube in an organic way that I've been on YouTube as an actual content creator since 2016, and I only have about 4,500 subscribers. Don't get me wrong, I'm just some nerd in Ohio. To have 4,000 people who want to know that I make retro computing stuff, that is friggin' awesome. But I would like to see more vintage repairs. Those are coming soon. I'm working on those, Sorcerer Stan. But, I don't want to name particular names because it's not their fault that they got really popular really fast. But there are some guys who got out there who they start their YouTube channel. They do videos about the same rate that I do, the same kind of thumbnails, the same kind of tags, and all that same, the stuff that the YouTube creator Academy tells you to do, and yet they get like 29, 40, 40,000, 80,000 views per video, and they've been on YouTube for a year. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong? You know, and just, but it is what it is. It's whatever. You can do your videos from a kiddie pool. Can you do your videos from a kiddie pool or hot tub? That seems to get views. Yeah, as long as I don't have to wear swimwear. I'm a kind of a chunky boy. You don't want to see that. Yeah, look at that jerk Brinkus creations. Yeah, but see, that's the thing, is Bruce's content is actually really good. I'm just this crazy wide-eyed guy who looks like he's a psychopath, you know, like complaining that he can't get videos done. I mean, you know, whatever. Yeah, Ron's computer videos. Yeah, that's another one of those jerks. No, but seriously, Ron's content is frigging awesome. And on top of that, Ron is an incredibly funny guy. He has a great sense of humor. So if you haven't subscribed to Ron's channel, go subscribe to him. But just, you know, and he's really good, like he says in his comment here. He's good at collaborating with other people and doing lots of cross promotion. I'm like a hyper introvert, and I'm just in my own little world. So maybe that's part of it. You know, I tried to reach out to some folks and be like, hey, can we do a collab at some point? You know, some of the bigger names. But the problem with the bigger names is that they're so big, they do this as their day job. They don't have time to carve out a little section for me to be like, by the way, here's our YouTube creator content of the month. It's not, you know, it's not their thing. So it's hard to do. Yeah, it's the whole cross-promotion, self-promotion thing is an issue, yeah. Joe has a great chest. What? Not just... You guys, please, let's not be weird in the comments. Yeah, I haven't been swimming in so million years. Yeah, yeah. Nobody likes Joe. Javier, you see, Javier is the coolest guy. He loves to send me little trinkets in the mail and give me some of the coolest projects to work on. One of which is one of the super secret projects I can't talk to you about right now. And just, yeah, so Javier, love you to death, brother. I cannot wait. A lot of you in the chat too. I've met several of you at Kansas Fest, which I will be attending the virtual Kansas Fest this year. So if you are going to be at Kansas Fest, the annual Apple II festival where all of us Apple II nerds to get together and talk about our favorite platform. If you're going to be at Kansas Fest, seek me out. I am going to be there. I don't have any presentations this year, but I'm going to be in the Discords and on the chats and things. So look for me there. But I can't wait, Javier, I can't wait to see you again, man, in person at real Kansas Fest in Kansas. I don't know how many of the rest of you have been to in-person Kansas Fest, but if you haven't, go. It is super awesome. Yeah. Yeah, and see, yeah, Ron, you're right to some extent. He says so many people are making so many great things. They don't see them posting links to their things outside their own Facebook and Twitter. More folks should be leveraging Reddit and Facebook groups. Yes, I try to, and that's what I did with this stream. I tried to post that on Facebook, on the Facebook, the Apple II enthusiast group, because this was kind of an Apple II related thing. And I tried to do that as well. Some of that promotion. But yeah, that is a thing. I mean, the big channels don't do it, obviously, because they already have YouTube momentum. They can just do it because people just watch their stuff religiously. But, you know, I will admit that's part of my problem. I tend to just tweet it out to the people who already know about my stuff. So I'm not getting more people to know about my stuff. Yeah, I get that. Am I going to VCF Midwest? Probably not at this point, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm probably more likely to go to Tandy Assembly, only because it's right here in Ohio. It's like an hour-and-a-half drive. It's like a day trip for me. I just get in the car and take a trip and hang out with the Tandy folks, you know. So we'll see. Michael's Workshop, was I at the K-Fest the year Woz showed up? No. What year was that? Was that 2016, I think? Maybe a little earlier than that. No, the first Kansas Fest I showed up to was 2019. To everybody who watches my channel frequently, you already know about this, but to those who don't, I suffer from generalized anxiety, social anxiety, and depression a little bit. And until I recently got medication, there was absolutely no way in person I was ever going to drive across the country to go to Kansas Fest. Until I got that under control, I wouldn't have been able to do it. I got that under control. Thank you to modern medicine. And I was able to go to K-Fest for the first time in 2019. And so that was really cool. Yeah, the virtual event, Herb said, yeah, is the in-person thing is a completely different animal from the virtual thing. Now, the virtual thing does have its benefits. It runs a little more smoothly, I think, and more people can attend. It was a blowout party last year. Normal K-Fest is about 80 to 100 people. The virtual K-Fest last year was like 400 or 500 people attended, mostly because the barrier to entry was lower. You didn't have to leave your house, and the admission fee was a lot lower because you're not paying for room and board, right? But the in-person thing, you cannot beat it. There's nothing like showing up and seeing literal industry insiders from the Apple II era and from the modern era show up there. You know, you get celebrities. You got Kay Savitz shows up. You've got Javier, the Retro Bright Master, shows up. You've got Jason Scott from the Internet Archive fame and from the guy who got sued for $2 billion. Of course, he is an absolute joy to be around because he's super funny. You've got Quinn Dunkey from Blondie Hacks, who shows up frequently. She was not there in 2019 because her schedule was too busy. She was doing that Project Egress thing with Adam Savage. She had a lot in her schedule. Carrington Vanston sometimes shows up from multiple different podcasts. You got Paul Hagstrom from multiple podcasts shows up. You got all these cool people that you can just show up and chat with. Rebecca Heineman, Burger Becky, who's made so many Apple II and other games, even modern video games that you probably didn't even know she worked on. Modern video game stuff. We're talking about a video game industry insider just shows up to hang out with his Apple II people. And you get to meet and talk to these people directly and in person. It's cool. Yeah. So, you know, if you can make it out to Kansas, even if you just fly out for one day or whatever, when K-Fest is in person, you got to do it. You absolutely have to do it. Yeah, the fastest growing channels push hard on Commodore stuff, more general retro content on a regular schedule. Yeah, I get that. I do understand that. I try to expand out a little bit more myself, and I understand why the Commodore gets a lot more is because the Commodore sold 25 to 40 million units, whereas the Apple II only sold a few million. So the Commodore 64 was a much more popular computer. Everybody had one at home when they were a kid, especially in Europe. The Commodore 64 and Amigas were crazy popular in Europe. So there's a bigger thing there. And getting videos out on a regular schedule is another big YouTube content thing too. As you know, those of you who know my channel, I try my darndest to get a video out every 2 weeks, but this is not my day job. Frequently, and if you watch my Twitter, you know, sometimes I complain about having to do work after hours because somebody's server breaks or something, and I got to go fix that, and it's hard for me to stick to a schedule, and that hurts my channel. But at the end of the day, I'm here to have fun and to share it with you guys. So if it happens, if the videos happen on a regular schedule, it happens. And I've noticed that during the Marchintosh, I did a lot. Gosh, I burnt myself out, really. I did, 5 or 6 videos, and a lot of them were those little 3-4 minute shorts. That was one of the ways I was able to do it. But that regular cycle saw a huge boost in content or in viewership for me. Because of the extra video cycle, YouTube pushed me up a little bit. So that regular schedule does, but I can't meet that schedule. It's too difficult in most cases for me to meet that schedule and get these videos done. So yeah. Yeah, be kind to our 650-6510 cousins. Yeah, the Commodore 64s are great friggin' computers, man. I've done videos on them. I did a 45-minute one of those silent restoration videos of one about a year ago. Yeah, I love those things. I mean, don't get me wrong. It is easier to talk to a computer screen and socialize with people to be better with people than to be with them. Trust me, it's way easier. Mike's Mac Shack, yes. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Right now, I mean, I'm just talking to a camera and words on the screen. I know you guys are all real people out there, and that's all the thing. But it's the old, when you're talking through chat, you know, it's a much different thing than when you're face to face in person with people and with somebody who has those anxieties of talking to people. Yeah, I get that. Yeah. The Commodore 64 was the best-selling computer model until the Raspberry Pi. To some extent, yeah, it was the Commodore 64, and then it was the iMac. Didn't the iMac supply? So no. The iMac was the best-selling Mac, the original all-in-one iMac that is right back there, that guy. And then, yeah, but that was the best-selling Mac. Yeah, the Raspberry Pi. And of course, the Raspberry Pi is cheap. The coolest little Linux box that you can throw anything at them and do cool stuff with. But yeah, PCBWay! You know, here's the thing about PCBWay. They might be watching this channel right now, or watching the stream, and that is perfectly fine. They have tried to court me several times, and they've courted a lot of other YouTubers because, you know, they'll give them discounts to make PCBs as long as you tell them, hey, you know, I get my stuff from PCBWay. Here's the issue. PCBWay takes longer and costs 3 to 4 times as much as JLC PCB. Not that I am promoting any particular PCB manufacturer, but that's the reason why I use JLC PCB and why I haven't taken a PCBWay sponsorship or promotion for my channel. When I get down to it, and here's the big reason. One, having a sponsorship on my channel isn't really going to help me that much. It's not going to make me be able to get videos out any faster, improve the quality of my videos or anything. I'll get PCBs for a little bit cheaper, and or I'll get paid to do it, one or the other. That's all it's going to do. I'll get some material gain. It won't make my channel better. So that's not going to, might make it look slightly more professional because I get to put an ad in front of each video. No. The other is the other side of that. Eric Helgeson said, I wanted to drop in and say hi, but I can't stick around. Keep the Apple II content coming. I will, Eric. Thank you for stopping by. Yeah, like what Michael just said, too. PCBWay is great, except you can never mention any competing brand if you take their money as per their agreement. And I have sensed that was the case because I brought up JLC PCB in a video or a stream or something from somebody who uses PCBWay, and they were very, very leery about actually mentioning the name of another provider. I get that. That's understandable. And that's your standard non-compete clauses and all that stuff. And again, I'm not trying to specifically promote JLC PCB, but the way I see it is the manufacturer that is going to get me the PCBs the fastest with acceptable quality for the lowest price is going to win, period. You can throw promotions at me until you're blue in the face, but if it takes me twice as long and costs me twice as much to get it, I'm not gonna promote the product. I would rather, say, hey, here's the product, here's the vendor that I use, and the reason I use is because of all the things I just said, right? So yeah. You say that about PCBWay, but Perry's dogs can now afford to pay other dogs to walk them. Uh-huh. Yeah. But like I was saying, Ron, is like, for me, it's not about the money. It's more about being able to just sustain. I'm not here to make $1 billion or anything. And the money I make from my YouTube channel enterprise just funnels back into this. And it doesn't really, other than buying stuff to do things like this teleprompter thing here I got, it doesn't truly improve the quality of my content or anything like that. The only thing that's going to improve that is me working harder, right? Me spending more time or having more time to do that. A sponsorship ain't gonna make it any better. Steve, you got to be promoted by Mac84Way. I'll send you busted capacitors. You can send me whatever you want, Steve. You have plenty of cool toys that I wouldn't mind taking a look at. Chris, my goal is to lose money on the channel. Yeah, and to some extent, yeah. I mean, this is our hobby, and a lot goes into running this thing that those of you who aren't doing it might not know. Right, like that and that and that, well, those aren't mine, but that computer and that computer and this computer and this computer. Where do you think they all came from? They came from dollar bills from my pocket. That's where they came from. But the idea isn't there necessarily to make a buttload of money. The idea is just help fund that hobby to keep it going, so I don't have to work so hard at my day job to have fun with my hobby, right? So that's kind of the point. Our little money-losing hobby, yes. Joe, how many G4 cubes do you have? I have exactly 0 G4 cubes, and I'll tell you why. I tend to focus on 8 bits or certain Macs. Compact Macs, for example, right up there. And, we've got these couple down here. And I got this one iMac here because it is the classic original iMac, right? Basically because it's collectible. But that's an 8-bit, and the majority of my Apple IIs are an 8-bit, 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 and over there are a bunch of 8-bits. I tend to focus on the 8-bits. I don't really do anything beyond this iMac in the Mac world because how can I put it? The older computers are what tickle my fancy. The computers that you're really close to the metal, and you can almost understand how they work inside your head. Once you start to getting into like Mac OS X and stuff, it tends to get a little more complicated, and everything's obfuscated, and there's layers, and it becomes a commercial product. Whereas these things are over glorified toys that ended up making a multi-billion-dollar or more like trillion-dollar industry, and that's why I like playing with those. They're magical. I'm not a real channel unless I have three or more G4 cubes. Well, if there's anybody out there, I do take donations and gifts to my channel. If anybody wants to ship me some G4 cubes for my channel, you can go ahead and do that. I can't guarantee them I will keep them for any extended period of time or that I'll ever get out and play with them. But yeah, they're great. Just keep them charged. Yes. Yeah, the Rode wireless mic. A lot of people, everybody's using the Rode wireless mic. What I also don't mention too often is I am the world's cheapest person. That's part of my upbringing. When we were young, I'll just say we weren't very affluent, so we were very frugal with finances, and I inherited that frugality. So I do not spend money unless I absolutely have to. So my mic is this lav mic. It's a cheap little like $14 lav that I then hook to an iPhone, and I use a piece of recording software. The iPhone goes in my pocket, the lav threads through, and I record it that way. And then my video editing software has a sync by audio function. All I have to do is pull this audio in. I do like a very quick 2-pass cleanup in Audacity with it, pull the audio in and click sync, and it just syncs it directly to the video. And then I delete the video that gets recorded on my camera, and 99.999% of the time it sounds just like one of those Rode mics. The downside is it's got a cable, and there's a little bit extra process to do it. But yeah, I'm a cheapskate. I may be cheaper than you. Ask Mike. Is that a chocolate lab or Michael? A chocolate lab? Oh yeah. Yeah, I would love to have a dog, but when I finally get back to working at the office again, I've been doing work from home since the as the Game Grumps call it, the Backstreet Boys reunion tour. Yeah, I haven't. I don't have any time to stay at home for dogs. So yeah, up in a single wide at the end of the dirt road. Bring on the cool tech, yeah. Mm-hmm. Steve, give the man a damn cube. Holding on to your cubes. Rip my latest unboxing video. Yeah. Martin Doherty is asking, what is that small wedge computer on the back wall? You're talking about this one right here. I did a video about that computer. I don't remember the exact name. Stand by. Yes. That is an NEC PC 8001A. It's a little 8-bit computer from Japan. But because it has the A on it, it is the American version of this computer. This computer this is a crazy story. If you want all of the details about that, I made a video on it. But that computer came from my neighbor just three houses up the street here. He just moved, which is kind of sad, but he was a really nice guy. He used this to run his business. He's an engineer. He's a professional engineer that did consulting services for legal counsel when people sued companies that made restraints like helmets or 5-point harnesses or anything like that for racing or motorcycles or anything like that. He was able to do all the calculations to determine that their product was not safe enough to save somebody from a 30-mile-an-hour crash or whatever. But he ran his business on this thing back in the 80s. It runs CPM. It was the coolest thing. It has the original monitor, the computer. This thing down right, this box right back in there is the I/O unit. This is the floppy drive down here, and on the very bottom shelf is the printer. It is a full machine, and if you look right here, right where I'm pointing with the little stick there, you might be able to see a logo. This is on a branded cart. This is a whole complete thing. This is the rarest computer I own. This is so rare that the last time I looked, there is no software on the Internet Archive or anywhere on the internet that I can find for this particular variant. And the reason being, one, it's the American version, so all the software you find is in Japanese and uses katakana and all that, and I can't read Japanese. And number two, this floppy drive is like a single side floppy drive that almost nobody ever bought. So all of the software on the internet are double side disks that don't work with this drive. So in order to, if you look at the video, the process that I had to go through to get just CPM up and running on this was absolutely crazy. So, but this thing is just a nifty old machine, and it's completely complete. It works 100%. I pull it out every once in a while, boot it up to make sure it works. It's been partially recapped. The power supply, I recapped the power supply. And I had to recap the floppy drive power supply as well, or something like that. But yeah. Can you be a real channel if you have 3 or more MSX computers? Sure, I guess. I would love to have an MSX computer, again, because those were mostly a Japanese market computer. We didn't have those in the US. Even having one MSX disqualifies you, yeah. I would love to have an MSX. I would love to have an Amstrad CPC as well. There are a lot of those, how can I put it, unique or iconic computers of different markets, of different time periods I'd like to have one of that I don't have in my collection. I don't have a CPC. I don't have an Acorn or a BBC Acorn or a BBC One or any of those British computers. I'd love to have a Provitz. I'd love to have the Russian clone of the Apple II. That'd be really cool to have. But those are, again, based on my previous statement of me being an absolute flipping cheapskate. I only collect those if they fall into my lap. Like this right here. He gave it to me. If you were to try to find and buy this thing, I don't even know what complete this thing would cost. Well over $1,000. I don't spend money like that on this hobby. The most you'll see me is maybe $600 or something like that on a tool, like my Rigol oscilloscope, stuff like that. Something that I'm going to use constantly, or a really rare Apple II, I might do that for. But for something like this, no, it falls in my lap, and that's how I do it. I'll give you $3.50. For $3.50, I'll mail you an NFT picture of it. How's that sound? There you go. Come on, crack that wallet open and let the moths out. Well, yeah, that always happens with me because I'm weird. I don't carry cash. Yeah, it is what it is. So lots of cool things coming up on the channel soon. For those of you who came by to the stream late, I'll recap it a little bit here before we shut down for the night. It's 9 o'clock. I'll be shutting down here fairly soon. We've been going for what, about a little over 2 hours. So yeah, I'll be shutting down here soon. But for sold for anybody here who who came into the stream a little bit later. Again, recapping what I did earlier on the stream, which you can go back and watch because it will be a video when we're done here. I was trying to get an Apple II to connect to the internet using a 300 baud, or not connect to the internet, connect to a BBS as automated as possible using an original 300 baud modem. And that was going to be a video. I spent 4 weeks doing it. I was tired of every step of the way, the process fighting me, so I decided to do a live stream tonight to show you that I actually did get it done, and then to rant and complain about the process. I've got so many projects on the bench, an Atari I need to work on. I've got lots of build projects over here, one of which will be coming out very soon. One will be coming out at K-Fest, and another will be coming out soon-ish, whenever it gets done. And just a whole, I have a list down here somewhere down there of lots of different things I want to be working on that will be coming up soon if you are frequent watchers. But you know, my next real video will probably be out probably by the end of this week, I'd have to say. I'm waiting on a part to arrive that was supposed to come with this thing that I was doing that got lost in shipping somehow. I don't know, and I had to get another one shipped. But once that part comes in, then I'll be able to finish that project. And it's a review, basically. It's a review of a brand new product. Because it's brand new, I can't tell you what it is. But once that comes out, once I get that part, I'll be able to get that done. That video will come out. I think your guys are really going to like that. It is a, how can I say, it is a sort of a remake of an existing retro computing project that kind of, I don't know, it nerdifies even further the original product to some extent. So it's gonna it'll have a market, maybe not as wide as the original one, but it'll definitely have a really cool sub-market. The upside of this version of this thing is that it is more flexible and will have multiple different ways that you can set it up when you get it. So it'll be really cool. Steve is so cheap, he drove 4 hours and paid a ton of tolls to dig a G3 AIO out of the dump. Yeah, I can believe that. That was the E-Wave's field of dreams. Imagine if Steve had a better flashlight. Yeah. So, yeah, that's basically what's going on in Joe's world. And I just, I wanted to do a little stream, bring you all up to date since you haven't seen me in a month, and keep the channel going and keep it alive and give you an idea of what's going on. Again, thanks to everybody who stopped out to hang out with me tonight. If you got here late, that's fine. You can go. This will be a video on the channel after the fact, so you can go back, rewind, rewatch it, find out what you missed. If you haven't smashed the like button, hey Stavros! Yes, Stavros, how are you doing? So Stavros here, if you don't know, is the guy who loaned me the 300 baud modem that I used in tonight's video, because my modem died. Thank you very much, Stavros. Couldn't make it earlier because I'm working. Stavros is a doctor. Everybody put your hands together for Stavros and all the awesome work that he is doing, being a doctor in these weird and trying times for our healthcare professionals. But yeah, Stavros let me borrow his modem here so that I could actually get this video done. So thanks to him. But what was I thinking? Where was I going with this? Yeah, to anybody. Yeah. So if you're just showing up now, again, remember, if you like the video, if you like the content, you like hanging out with me, hit the like button. It really helps. That's what makes the channel really, truly work. If you are brand new to the channel, yeah, Stavros is here. We have to keep going now. I mean, I can keep going probably for another hour if you really want to just hang out and chat. That's fine. But I just don't want to sit here like a blathering idiot and have nothing to talk about. But yeah. But again, if you're just now jumping into the channel, hit the like button on the video. I got 40 likes. Yeah. And go back and watch some of my videos after the stream is done. And if you like my channel, subscribe. and hit like on those videos you did if you like those videos. That is what really helps drive the engagement for the channel. It helps get me out in front of more people, to get YouTube to see, hey, this Joe guy's pretty cool. A lot of people hitting like on his. We can show this to other people that haven't seen his videos before, which then it just starts to feed back on itself. And then cool things like how to make these Ethernet adapters will get in front of more eyeballs so people can spend $7 to do local talk instead of 90, you know? So that's the entire point. So, yep. Oh gosh, what else do I have in my collection that is insanely crazy? This is one of the, well, I'm gonna have to do it this way. You guys see that one back there? This right here, Franklin Computer PC 8000, 16-bit personal computer. This is basically an IBM compatible, complete in box, with styrofoam, with plastic wrap, with keyboard, with shipping label on the top of it, with invoice inside the box. It hasn't been out of the box in years. If somebody wants to buy that off me, they can buy it off of me if they like, because it just sits there. I collected it back in like 2001 or earlier than that, a long time ago. There was this weird period of time, step way back. I work at a computer, effectively I work at a computer repair shop. At this point, we do professional computer network management for folks. We're what's called a managed service provider. For those who are in the IT industry, you know what I'm talking about. But basically, people hire us, small businesses that need somebody to manage their network, like a full-time IT guy, but can't afford a full-time IT staff. They hire us. It's kind of sort of outsourcing, but not, I don't like to use that term because it's not entirely accurate. Contracted out would be more appropriate. We manage companies' networks, right? Part of that is we do have a computer repair shop. That was our original business model, you know, back in the late 90s. Anyway, there was this period between 1999 and 2002 where the majority of my collection came from. All of those IBM PCs, that, 2 of my Macs, my Apple IIc Plus that I used right here on the bench earlier, all of that stuff came from people just dropping off computers at the shop. They're like, do you recycle old computers? And I'm like, yeah, sure. We'll take care of it for you. And I recycled it straight onto that rack. And that's where this came from. This came from just somebody randomly dropping off this old computer, but it was complete in box. Like, I don't know how this happens, but it did. And so, you know, I collected it. And I've had it for like 22 years now. I don't use it. It just sits there, right? And here's the sad part about it. It came with the monitor. It came with the matching monitor. But between the time somebody dropped it off and the time I was able to collect it, so to speak, from whoever took it in at the shop at the time, the monitor got thrown away. So the monitor got lost. But other than that, it's a complete in-box PC 8000. It's got the keyboard controller might need repair, but like it's at this point it just takes up space, right? So nice shirt, Joe. You mean my orange shirt? My plain orange shirt? You like my orange shirt? Okay. Thank you. You like orange? Is orange your favorite color? Somebody should have been monitoring that monitor. Yeah, I should have been monitoring that monitor. Benjamin Franklin's own computer. Yep. Sure, it's not a brick. What, this computer back here? Yeah, it's not a brick. It works. Fender Sidekick. I have several 2GS computer systems I want to give away at Kansas Fest. Not yet. Yeah, and see, that's the downside. It's been 2 years since we've been together at Kansas Fest, so there's no garage giveaway to take cool things to. I'm not sure when we reconvene. 2022 will most definitely be back together in Kansas, but I'm not sure the garage giveaway will be going at that point because, you know, it always started as Sean Fahey, the preeminent collector of Apple II hardware in the world, I would say. It was called the garage giveaway because it was him clearing out his garage every year of all the cool things that he collected, because he was somehow he was magical Rumpelstiltskin at collecting these things, and he gave them away. But, you know, because he doesn't contribute to that anymore, because he's got his collection pared down to his his minimum final, if you want to call it that. You know, it's just us bringing in our extra stuff. And at that point, like the one in 20, the one we had, the garage giveaway we had in 2019 was a mess. And not from it being disorganized, I mean, it was literally messy because it was a lot of people's just, I don't know, offcuts, so to speak. So I don't know. We'll see. There may be an informal garage giveaway. Yeah, probably. Of course, like always, you know, if at K-Fest, if you want to bring your stuff and keep it in your room and tell everybody, I got stuff to trade, come talk to me. You know, you do a little deal in back hallway, you know, whatever. But yeah, so yeah, it is what it is. Michael just asked, did you see the video recently of the guy who cleaned out an Apple II Mac hoarder house and put it into a storage unit? I have not seen the actual video, no, but I did see it in my suggestions, and I can tell you why I didn't see the video. And to all of the people that I have collaborated with in the past, I am absolutely awful at this. Ron, I apologize to you. Javier, I apologize to you. It takes me a long time to watch your videos because I'm really weird with that. I almost don't like watching retro computer videos on YouTube. I don't know why. I like watching people fix cars. I'm really weird that way. It's really, really fascinatingly odd. So, yeah, I don't watch those a lot for some reason. Yeah. Geek with Social Skills. Is that you? Were you the one who did that? Were you the one who saved the garage or saved the hoarder list? Okay. Yeah, I'll have to seek that out tonight. Yeah, I'm really weird when it comes to videos. And that kind of also makes me a bad cross promoter of the community to some extent, and I'll admit that right out, because they're, especially the larger YouTubers, like 8-Bit Guy, Adrian's Digital Basement. Part of the reason why I don't watch their videos is because it makes me jealous of what they're doing and what I had an idea for and they beat me to it or something. And part of it too is the Neil Gaiman effect that I like to say. Neil Gaiman, if you don't know, he's a science fiction fantasy author who has a very strict internal policy about reading fan fiction, and which he doesn't. He does not read fan fiction. He has very specific reasons why, and many authors are this way too. The reason you don't want to read fan fiction as an author is because it could inadvertently taint your own experiences, and you could end up accidentally stealing somebody else's idea, and then get sued, which I think actually happened to the Star Trek Discovery people. They stole the idea of the tardigrade from some other author and didn't actually intend to, but did anyway. And anyway, nerd things. But that's another reason why I don't watch a lot of that content, because it makes me feel inadequate, and it makes me feel like I'm watching the competition to copy what they do. It feels weird to me. It doesn't feel right for some reason. Maybe eventually one day I'll get over that, and I'll be totally embracing everybody else's content and be like, that was super awesome. I like that. That said, I don't not watch all of it. I do catch other retro computing folks stuff. I tend to watch the repair live streams more than I do the project videos, because I'm more of a repair guy than I am necessarily an exhibition guy. So that tends to tickle my fancy a little bit more. And that was the entire thing with this video too. I had to go through this. What got me into this was, I had to repair this thing to make it work. And that's what I truly enjoy, is just repairing old stuff. So, whatever. Go your own way. Yeah, that's kind of what I do. Yep. So, Stavros, mold, spores, and fungus. The old toy restore videos, I like those. The tool repair, or the tool restoration videos, I like those. There's a guy named Musty One that fixes old lawnmowers, go-karts. Cars and Cameras is another one I like to watch. Vice Grip Garage, he is absolutely hilarious. But yeah. Stavros, I like watching Finnish people crush stuff with hydraulic presses and also blow up stuff with dynamite. Absolutely, yes. Yeah, and Geek with Social Skills, just do videos that make you happy, even if there is crossover in content. Yeah, and I agree with that too. Yeah, yeah. I try to do that, but it just, there's some weird thing. This old Tony, yeah, he's hilarious too. Junkyard Mook and Junkyard Digs, yeah, those are good. There are there's some weird programming, and this might tie into my social anxiety, my weird fear of failure or whatever. Psychology with Joe. Where I don't like watching content creators that make content similar to mine, because I'm afraid that I'm just going to feel like I'm not meeting the standard of somebody who's already famous and doing it. It's probably some stupid psychosomatic psychology BS. Eventually I'll get over it, and I'll watch all your guys' content a lot more. Geek with Social Skills does great stuff. Of course, we know Mac84 does. Ron's computer videos. Ron is freaking hilarious. Javier, again, is doing a lot of cool things with Apple IICs lately. Of course, his RetroBright stuff is super awesome, so go watch Javier's stuff. And there are a lot of you in the Mac community that I don't watch your videos as much either. Mike's Mac Shack and stuff like that, mostly because I don't follow the Mac community as much as I do the 8-bit and Apple II stuff. So that's not personal or anything like that. It's just it's on the periphery of my interest set. So it is what it is. Herb saying, do it for the love of the hobby. Yeah, that's kind of what it is. That is kind of what it is. So yeah. Frederick is like, I love the JCM series. You should continue art. Frederick, were you here for that earlier in the stream? Yeah, the JCM1 computer. I showed that to everybody in the stream. For everybody in the stream who came on a little bit later. Mike does a lot of Apple II stuff. I'll have to catch your videos, Mike. Quick, Mike, change your channel name. The JCM1 computer, for those who didn't catch that, I've got a whole series of videos on that. Basically, I had it in my mind that I wanted to create my ideal 8-bit computer and avoid a lot of the pitfalls like the Apple II had. For example, the Apple II is a great computer for being designed in 1977. It was just an exquisite piece of electrical engineering. But it has things about it that just bother me, like the nonlinear frame buffer, that sound being a bit banged sound port and stuff like that, that has some inherent limitations to it that I'm like, I know that with enough time and effort, I can make my 8-bit computer based on my favorite 8-bit processor, the most, in my opinion, efficient 8-bit processor that exists, the 6502. They're also really easy to program for and easy to wire up. The 6502 is much easier to work with than the Z80 in my opinion. But anyway, I wanted to make my own favorite 8-bit computer that would be my dream machine. And that's what the JCM1 project was about. And like Frederick said, I do need to get back to that project at some point. But the last stopping point was getting real bitmap video out of the computer. As Quinn Dunkey once said, most old 8-bit computers are a very complicated set of TTL logic chips designed to create video with a computer kind of attached to the side of it. And that is true. They're just getting video out of an 8-bit computer or getting it out of a modern computer. It's a miracle we were even able to make it happen. It's absolutely crazy what has to go into making a computer make video and get the timing correct, because video is a sequential, timing specific, timing accurate thing, and if you're off by a millisecond, the video won't sync, and just, yeah. So that's where I got stuck, is getting video out of JCM1, and I got to get back to that at some point. Brankus is like, I like to watch channels that are on a similar journey to me, not the ones that have already reached the destination. Yeah, I agree, and honestly, Bruce, that's kind of, I think, in retrospect, why I love to watch your streams, because you're a little bit farther on that journey than I am, and I have gleaned from your videos so much information on how to do board level repair and stuff, to the point where I can offer that as a service to the public. If somebody needs their Mac board fixed, if somebody needs their Apple II fixed, if somebody needs some old machine figured out, whatever, from following some folks like Bruce and Steve, I've been able to learn enough to be able to be another resource for the community to do that. And that's part of the entire fun there. Idaho Fur. Ah, modems, USR and X2, though Flex was winning and USR complained, thus V90. Yes. Yep. There you go. Stavros, the video was sync instead of sync. You are exactly correct. Geek with social skills, bigger hammer. Yep. We call this, here in the Midwest, we call this the hacker whacker. Always keep a hammer. Of course, you know, that's a hammer. And if you're very, very careful, that's a hammer. And that is a hammer too, if you're really, really, really careful, you know. So yeah, I'm a fraud. You actually know stuff, Joe. I don't know about that, you know. Like, I mean, if you Bruce's, you can walk into the roof of Bruce's garage and he just thinks it's figs hammering. Yes. As far as like knowing stuff, I don't know about that. You know, I'm weird. I'm autodidactic, meaning I teach myself. I do not have a college education at all. I have only a high school diploma. And yet I am second in command of a multi-million-dollar managed service provider. And that is, this is to, not to like say I'm the most intelligent person, or I'm super awesome, because if it would, I would be Elon Musk or Steve Jobs or something like that. But because I'm autodidactical and I teach myself stuff, I have been able to learn some absolutely crazy stuff. Like over the course of the past 2 years, I've been able to teach myself basic electrical engineering to the point where I can design circuits and hook up and actually design PCBs that do things. And if you want to compare that to Bruce, if you want to compare that, maybe that makes me smarter. I don't know. I don't know if that qualifies as smarter or just being on a different journey from you. Being on a talking about journeys, I'm on a parallel but different road. Maybe that, I don't think that necessarily makes me smarter. That said, you know, there is that SE30 board that I'm working on for Javier that I shipped to Steve to fix, and Steve got it working more, but then Steve sent it to you to fix. So, you know, smart is as smart does, if you want to sort of weirdly paraphrase Forrest Gump. I don't know. You know, I don't want to put that qualifier on it. So I walked to Faye for 5 minutes and we're comparing hammers. Yes. Idaho Fur. I think I spy with my little eyes a K-Pro. You're talking about this guy right here. Yes. I go back about 4 years in my video history. I think I actually have what is it called? Playlist. I have a playlist for that. Go back in my videos. I have a 3-video series on this K-Pro. And oh my goodness, this thing is crazy. It's like 3 different K-Pros mixed in one. This thing is nuts. This is an absolutely crazy old machine. Go look up that series if you haven't seen it. It is just great. Yeah. And Martin Doherty, et latine docuit te. Absolutely. Only slightly. And I took 3 years of Latin in high school from arguably the best classical high school Latin instructor in the world. If you don't know this lady, her name is Mary Jo Berensmeyer. She is quite literally the best Latin instructor in the world for high school students. And she teaches, even to this day, 20 years after I graduated high school, she is still teaching classical Latin, 4 different courses of Latin, Latin 1, Latin 2, Latin 3, and Latin 4, at my local high school in this tiny little town in the middle of nowhere, Ohio. She is the absolute best Latin teacher you could ever have. I learned more about English from her Latin class and language in general from her Latin class than I did from any other language or any other English course I ever took. I learned how to properly read. I learned how to decipher the meaning of words better through the vocabulary I learned from her class. Everybody has that one teacher that, you know, that went above and beyond and was the special teacher. The one teacher that just somehow changed their world. And for me, that was Mary Jo Berensmeyer. So if she ever hears this video, Mrs. Berensmeyer, you're the best. You are super awesome. If you guys ever have a chance, Stavros, see ya, Stavros. Bye. Thanks for loaning me your modem. If you guys ever have a chance to go look up Mary Jo Ahrensmeyer, go do it. She is one of the most accredited, most accomplished, and most revered Latin teachers in the world, period. And she's right here in Mount Vernon, Ohio, right here in my hometown. I don't know how that happened, but yeah. Interview her. I could interview her. I don't know if she'd want to be interviewed for Latin or for my weird video or for my weird computer channel. Maybe I could do that. But then she would start throwing Latin at me, expecting me to remember it. It's been 22 years. The best Latin I can remember is Fatuetu et Cabalum tuum. I will type that in the chat for the Latiners who know that. So those who speak Latin might read Latin. We don't speak Latin. Latin's not a spoken language anymore. It's technically a dead language. We read and translate Latin. Fatuetu et Cabalum tuum. You will know what that means, but yeah. Haran's computer videos. I can design PCBs that do things too. Collecting Baud wires is technically a thing. Yes. Yes. Yeah, that'll work. Try to reseat the deoxit RAM chip. So somebody asked, oh, Thomas, yeah, I think were you on the Facebook enthusiast group asking about that? The Apple II enthusiast group. Cursed Apple IIe that random memory error, memory IOU and mouse errors on it, or it runs perfect. Yeah, exactly. That is exactly. I agree with Michael's workshop on that. Yeah, take the chips out. Spray down the sockets with deoxit, put the chips back in it. A lot of the Apple IIe's, the Apple IIc's also had really, really crappy single wipe sockets that just fall apart over time. I actually, my Apple IIc, I didn't do a video of it on it because it was just maintenance for me, but my Apple IIc, again, I was using it for a project, so I had to be in and out of that Apple IIc a lot. And I ended up destroying like 4 of the sockets in it because I was putting things into it and taking them out of it a lot. And so I had to just replace those sockets. Now, you don't do Facebook. Where did you were talking, I swear you were talking that. Were you on Steve's channel in a live stream talking about it? I swear I saw you talking about that somewhere recently. But yeah. Yeah, and you said thinking about replacing sockets, they're single swipe. Yeah. The sockets that are in there. Yep. The single wipe sockets they're the ones they put in there. Now, for a board that where you're making a massive amount of boards, like thousands and thousands and thousands of boards, saving 2 cents per socket saves you millions of dollars on your entire production costs, and so that makes sense. So they put the single wipe sockets in there because they're cheaper, and also because single wipe sockets tend to be okay if you put the chip in it and then never touch it again. And also, as long as you keep the machine in a relative, you don't have like wide temperature swings and differentials while you're operating it, so that they can't work their way out of the socket, so you have to keep pressing them into the socket. But if you're doing a lot of stuff with those single wipes, they wear out really, really fast because they're not designed for prototyping or for taking chips in and out a lot. So in my case, I ended up killing all my sockets and had to replace the sockets. So that said, if you're out there and you think you've got an Apple II or an old 8-bit computer or anything like that, and you are in the Midwest and you want it fixed, you got one that's broken and you want it fixed, but don't feel that you can fix it yourself, you can contact me. I do repair services. I got a couple Stavros' things right back here that I'm working on for him, and several other things that I've done in the past that I've done videos on as well. SE30s I work on, Mac SEs, Mac Pluses, original Macs, power supply recaps, stuff like that. I can do those things. So if for a very affordable rate, it's not free, obviously. It costs me some time and money to do it in materials, but if that's something you need done, reach out to me. You can, if you go into the YouTube's things and find my business email address, you can email me there, or you can go to my website, jcm-1.com. I'll put it in the thing, in the chat. You can go to my website and send me a message and say, hey Joe, is this kind of the kind of thing you can fix? This is the kind of computer it is. This is what it's doing. Is it something you think you can tackle? And if I think I can tackle it, I will give you an estimate for the price to do it. And we arrange shipment. You send it to me. I fix it. I send it back. I have multiple happy clients, a lot of them in the Apple II community, and a lot of them in the Macintosh community. So if you're on the Facebooks, you can reach out to them in those two enthusiast groups and say, hey, Joe did the thing. Did work for you, or is doing work for, can anybody, vouch for him? And you're going to get nothing but positive reviews. And I'm not saying that to toot my own horn. That's because everything that I've sent out, with the exception of maybe one thing, has gone out perfect. And the one thing that didn't go out perfect was because it was an unobtainium logic chip that I just couldn't get one of. Martin Doherty says, have you worked on CRTs much? No. I can work on the high voltage power supply of CRTs to some extent, up until the super high voltage side, like the flybacks and some of the capacitors, because some of those are unobtainium. They're parts that you can't get. I, unfortunately, unlike Adrian Black and his super awesome kit that he has, I do not have rejuvenators for CRTs. So I don't, if you have a CRT, or kinescope is the technical term for the thing, but the tube, the picture tube, if it's weak or whatever, I don't have the tools to properly rejuvenate those. And of course I can't fix burn-in or anything like that. But if it's some basic stuff, like you've got maybe vertical or horizontal deflection issues, some of those are things that if you're willing to bear with me in the time it takes to work on it, I would love to have the opportunity to work on one that has issues, just to learn the process. And to everybody out there too, if there's something out there that's on the periphery of what I know, but I do not know it, I do offer slight discounts on my time, and I calculate the amount of time that I take learning, and I usually will not charge you for that time to do learning on those things. So because I see that as beneficial for both of us. If I can get it working at the end, you have something that was working that wasn't working before. And at the end, I'm a smarter person and know more things so that I can do a better, faster, more reliable job for everybody and have a better service I can provide to the community. So can you pick up WKRP on your radio there? No, they went off the air a while ago. That's the site with the cool light bright. Yes! Yeah, I did have the MMU out of the board. The pins were corroded. Yeah, and that's the problem. Yep. Yeah, that's what happens with machines, and so many too. The Apples are just all of the vintage machines. They're getting to the point where they've been stored in damp environments. So even if you don't have what's common with the Macs and stuff, where you don't have battery explosions or capacitor leaks and creep, as Brankus, as Bruce will say, the gunge, the scunge, and the munge, or whatever he calls it. Even if you don't have that, what you can have is simple oxidative corrosion from too much moisture in the air. You get a lot of these computers where the board actually looks okay, but they'll come, the logic board will be mounted in a metal frame. Where is it? I got one here, stand by. Yeah, here we go. Like, for example, this SE30 board that I fixed, that I did a video on of fixing. This had tons of capacitor leakage and all that, but if you look up in here, right in here, there's a bunch of rust up in here, and that rust is literally from just being in a moist environment. And that with those cheap, put that away, with those cheap single wipe sockets, the single wipe sockets tend to be like, they're just like, they're tin plated copper, and you put them in there and it scrapes a little bit of the tin off and it leaves a little bit of the copper exposed, and that copper will just slowly corrode out and turn into the green crusties, and just from being in an area of humidity higher than, like, say 70%, in a barn, in an attic, underneath the cupboard underneath the stairs with Harry Potter, wherever it gets shoved, and that kills things. Even though it might not have, the capacitor gunge. So, that is the thing. Nice set of RAM. Yes, the RAM in that is That is 128 megabytes of RAM. Way too much RAM for an SE30, but I went all out because I was able to find it relatively inexpensive, again, because I am a cheapskate. Yeah, Thomas Armstrong, a lot of them sit on concrete floors that rot them. Yeah, there is this thing, there's actually science behind it, obviously, of how concrete floors, bare concrete floors, somehow attract moisture because they're cold convection currents, because they tend to be colder, and the moisture from a room that's otherwise not humid will keep a layer of moisture at near the floor because of the cold air, something like that. Yeah, so that is a thing. Bruce, moisture is good for preventing brittle plastics and screen delamination. Yes, but bad for everything else. Yep, absolutely. And that's the other side of it too. You can't keep things too dry. There are a lot of things that will dry out. Capacitors, for example, you can get some machines. The SEs are notorious for this. The Performa 410s / LC2s and LC3s. You can see this as well, where if they've been kept in a really dry environment, the capacitors don't leak, they evaporate, they dry out, and you'll have a board that looks perfect but still doesn't work right because the capacitors are still bad. I have an LC2 / Performa 410 that had a small roll in my Marcintosh this year that had that same problem. It had bad capacitors, and I fixed that before I even had my YouTube channel. It was one of my first things I ever fixed. The board looked perfectly fine, but it was acting like it had bad caps, and it was because it was stored in a school in a storage closet or something, and it was near the air conditioning units or something, and it was crazy dry in there, and it dried out the capacitors. So, you can get that same thing. Yeah, Cocoa, one with the dry cap that took forever to find. And that can be really hard to diagnose those things too, because when they're dry, you can't. All you have to go on is misbehavior. And as we know, especially in the 8-bit computers, misbehavior can be anything. Is it a software problem, a ROM problem, a peripheral problem? Is my power supply bad? Which chip is it? I don't know. It's randomly doing whatever. How do you diagnose that? Well, you can cock the parts gun, the part shotgun, and shoot the part shotgun at it. As far as capacitors go, but is it working? Boot chime and then death chime. Yeah. Working on that Quadra 700 that got SimSAR sockets replaced. Yeah. Yep, doodles. Well, I'm kind of... we just been sitting here chatting. I just been talking my head off. We've been streaming now for, oh gosh, approximately 3 hours. I think I'm going to kind of pack it in for tonight. I think I have exhausted my topics of things that I wanted to chat about. I really wanted to talk about this modem project and let everybody know where I was on that modem project and keep the channel alive to some extent. Got more videos coming soon, very soon. Hopefully by the end of this week, we'll have another new one, and that'll be cool. I absolutely love every one of you for stopping by tonight to chat with me, ask me a whole bunch of questions, and just hanging out. It has been really cool. We've had approximately 30 of you concurrent watching, which is pretty awesome. Mac 84, only 3 hours. Yeah, Steve, I got this thing called a job, and I have an appointment early in the morning tomorrow, so I can't do it till midnight as much as I'd like to. But yeah, I really do need to cut it off tonight. But again, thank you all for stopping by. Everybody who gave me the super chats, thank you. People who gave me the thumbs up, thank you. If you haven't hit thumbs up, hit the like button. Do the thing. If you stop by as this first time on my channel and haven't checked out my channel, go check out some of my videos later tonight, maybe tomorrow. And if you like my stuff, subscribe and become part of my nerd army. I'm going to see you all later. Have a good evening and good